is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Tougher rest rules in the NBA approved by the league's Board of Governors, reports ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. Rules apply to star players who sit out games, including those on national TV and in-season tournaments. Also addresses multiple stars sitting out together in regular season games. Fines over $1 million for 3 or more violations of resting rules. ESPN NBA reporter Ramona Shelburne.
I want to see the enforcement. Yeah. Okay, because it comes down to, all right, let's just pick Joel Embiid. Let's say he's got a little sore back, and maybe this game is a good game for him to rest. You going to question the medical on that? Are you going to question the medical on Steph Curry? Are you going to question the medical on LeBron James?
Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers has not said a word publicly about his future after suffering a season-ending torn Achilles. But in the opinion of Coach Robert Saleh, Rodgers won't be riding off into the sunset. Saleh said he'd be shocked if Rodgers indeed retires. In wake of the Rodgers injury, the NFL Players Union is calling for the league to change all of its field services to natural grass.
Summer Bonanza means more business in the fall months. Hire right with Indeed. Their integrated solution lets you schedule and conduct video interviews all in one place. Finding your next great hire has never been this easy. Get hiring at Indeed.com/credit.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yusu. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Oh, by the way, it's a hump day. Yep.
It's hump day.
Let's hump, everybody.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
NFLPA wants to change all fields to natural grass.
Hump day.
You know who loves natural grass?
It's hump day.
Muso.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Paulie loves it.
No.
Hump day.
Paulie loves it. It's so good.
It's hump day.
LSU down a cornerback.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Saints add a defensive end.
Hump day.
Russ Mitchell in hour 3.
It's hump day.
We got a lot to do.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Bourbon Dictionary.
Hump day.
Pluckers Trivia.
It's hump day.
Otter Locks.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
3 hours. Locked, loaded, ready to go. Let's get it, y'all. Glad to have you aboard with us here on this Hump Day edition of AFR presented by Pluckers. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
It is no secret whatsoever that LSU's most glaring Achilles heel is their secondary, and in particular, the cornerback position. Early in fall camp, we saw Ohio State transfer JK Johnson with his foot, leg heavily wrapped and on one of those scooters, those little kneeling scooters, and had yet to get an update from Brian Kelly on J.K. Johnson's status. Well, we got that today. Here's what Brian Kelly said on the SEC Coaches Teleconference.
That's a long-term injury. The surgery was successful, but any chance of getting him back would be, sometime in December, maybe later. So I think that's what we're looking at right now.
So December or later. By the way, does anybody else have Brian Kelly's ringtone? Do you have that one, Muse? What's your ringtone?
It's just the standard.
Just the telephone ring?
Yeah.
The classic ring?
Yeah. Like the classic one that comes with the iPhone.
Call my number real quick.
All right, hold on.
If you would. Paulie, what's your ringtone? Do you have the one Brian Kelly does?
Mine's the default Apple one.
Yeah, that's what mine is.
The ring, just ringing, or what's the default?
It was the one that was just playing.
Oh, you and Paulie and Brian Kelly have the same ring. Are you calling me?
I am.
So I just got a ring.
You have that one. Okay.
I just have a ring. Yeah. So okay. Anyway, Brian Kelly changing it up or not changing it up a little bit there. Good on him. Whatever. You do you, BK. JK Johnson's one of the guys we've kind of forgotten about a little bit because he's been injured and it's been a little out of sight, out of mind. And boy, considering the issues LSU's had, it sure would have been nice to have had the opportunity to get J.K. Johnson back at some point this season, get him into the fold. I'll remind you, J.K. Johnson, while he was at Ohio State, played in 15 games a year ago and started 10 of them. So, started 5 of them. Forgive me, started 5 of the 15. And of the 15 that he played in during his 2 years at Ohio State. So let me say that another way. I fumbled that. Over his 2 years at Ohio State, he played in 15 games with 5 starts. He made those 5 starts a year ago on the team that went to the college football playoff. So J.K. Johnson was a productive player and was a really talented guy. And I know sometimes we're all guilty of it. You sort of get caught up in recruiting rankings and let that be your North Star. And that's kind of the case with Denver Harris, who I went back and checked was the number 23 overall prospect in his recruiting class. J.K. Johnson was number 54 in the country. Not cornerback, number 54 in the country. So he was an elite blue chip prospect as well. By comparison, Deuce Chestnut was 413, and Zy Alexander coming out of high school did not have a national ranking. So as much as we've sort of focused on the prospects of Denver Harris coming along and improving, I think J.K. Johnson is one that it's fair to wonder what if he were available. He was here in the spring when Deuce Chestnut was out. And so, how different is this conversation about the cornerback room if you have J.K. Johnson? Zy Alexander has been your best guy, and he's got one side locked down. That much we know, and we've talked about that plenty. The other side has kind of been the question. It looked like Deuce Chestnut was that guy all throughout fall camp, and then a week before the opener against Florida State, they decide, no, we're going to put Sage Ryan out there because he can really run and he tackles well. That was Brian Kelly's explanation. Well, first play of the game against Florida State, the Noles run a screen and Sage Ryan misses a tackle. It wasn't long after that Chestnut was in the game. So Ryan struggled. Chestnut goes in. Well, Chestnut got a pick in the first half, but the second half was a struggle. He got mossed by Keon Coleman, and it was just not good. He was just outmanned physically. So you went from Sage Ryan to Deuce Chestnut, boom, boom, just like that. Well, you go to the Grambling game, and then we see Denver Harris in there, and he probably gives up a touchdown, has a PI. And so you go into the season with what you think based on your practice and what you've seen is your best path forward. And then now through 2 games, you sort of assess what you have, and what you have is Zy Alexander on one side, who's been far from perfect, but has been your best guy. And on the other side, you've tried Sage Ryan, Deuce Chestnut, Denver Harris, who have all had moments where they've struggled. And then you do have the young guys behind them. Ashton Stamps, of course, went in for Chestnut when he was injured against Florida State. Jeremiah Hughes made his college debut at corner this past weekend against Grambling. For what it's worth, Chestnut played 1 snap. 1 snap against Grambling. It was very clear they were using that as an opportunity to get other guys work to see what it may look like. Because with Chestnut, you got a more veteran guy. You know what his ceiling is. You know what his limitations are. So it was an opportunity to go get other guys work. We'll see what they choose to do. For me, and I always try to, that it's whenever I can, I always try to give you an opinion on the matter that we're discussing. So what would you do if I'm Matt House, if I'm Kerry Cooks, Robert Steeples, and you're putting together this secondary for this weekend? For me, I'm at the point where I got to have guys on the field that are not going to bust coverages, that are going to be in the right position. Because I feel like if you're in position to make the play, then Brian Kelly talked earlier this week about, raking through the basket is kind of what we talked about. So, like if you're a DB, you get your hand between the receiver's arms, try to rake the ball out, raking through the basket. Those are types of things you feel like with drills you can coach. I think about the touchdown that Major Burns, I know he's a safety, but the touchdown Major Burns gave up against Keon Coleman. He just got mossed by a better athlete. He was right there. The one in the back left corner of the end zone, the Deuce Chestnut gave up. He was on Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman's a great receiver, made the play. I think what you can't have right now is busted coverages that allow big plays. I want to know my guys are going to be in the right position, so that's who I trust right now. So whoever that is in this group opposite Zy Alexander, that's the direction that you have to go. And eventually, what you hope is you can transition to guys that maybe have better athletic skill set as they get more comfortable. And maybe that's where they go with Denver Harris. But, yeah, I think the example that we've often used, different position, is when it was DJ Welter and Kendall Beckwith at linebacker. Beckwith was so clearly the better athlete, but Welter was the guy who was right in the middle of the defense, made all the calls, knew where to be, was never out of position. He was just not the physical specimen that Kendall Beckwith was. But DJ Welter was a good college linebacker. He was just a guy better. And as soon as Kendall Beckwith caught up, it was like, all right, let's just take the training wheels off and let the kid go. They may get to that point in the secondary, but for now, I think the, air quotes, safer play is to have guys on the field that are going to be where they're supposed to be in those moments. So you have fewer busted coverage leading to big plays, because this team, this defense right now could ill afford to give up any of those. So we did learn officially JK Johnson out for the year, so no hope in reinforcements coming for the Tigers this season. You got what you got. Now go get them better. All right, it's After Further Review. Our show open every day brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer of the LSU Tigers, the official beer of the New Orleans Saints. Check out when you're at your favorite retailer, like our friends, of course, over at Rouse's. You got the Bud Light LSU aluminum bottles. The design is awesome. Purple bottle with the Eye of the Tiger logo on it. There's a QR code as well if you want to learn more about it. When you're in Death Valley, or if you're in the Caesars Superdome, or you're at A.W. Mumford Stadium, remember Bud Light, the official beer of the LSU Tigers, the New Orleans Saints, and of the Southern Jags. Drink easy in Louisiana this football season with Bud Light. All right, it's After Further Review. We'll knock out a break. When we come back, it's injury report day for the NFL. We'll get you caught up. Saints have added a defensive end, and the Panthers are going to be down another starter on Monday Night Football. We'll get to that when we come back. Glad you're with us here on Hump Day edition of AFR, presented by Pluckers. Stick around.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan, injury attorneys. Of course, Gordon continues to expand the G team. And one thing that I tell you often is go check out Gordon's social media. Two reasons in particular that he does, things that he does very well. Right now, there's a new Q&A with Kyron Lacey up. So member of the G team. You can go to @GetGordon on Twitter or Facebook or TikTok or Instagram, and you can see the sit-down clipped by Taylor O'Brien with the one-on-one with Kyron Lacey, member of the G team. Also, you can go to @GetGordon and on any of the social media, and you can check out a lot of what they got going on. Gordon did a really cool thing earlier this week where he did a Q&A just in a thread of advice to give people if you get in an accident or certain situations. It's always great to check out Gordon's social media because there's a really good job of giving you good information there as well. Of course, if you've been injured in an accident, you need representation. Do what injured people in our state have done for years. Get Gordon. Get it done.
Follow us on Twitter @1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter @1045ESPN.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on select new 23 Ford F-150 trucks. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Well, another day and more positive news for LSU in the NIL space. Angel Reese and Olivia Dunn, if you haven't seen it yet, Angel Reese and Olivia Dunn are going to grace the cover of the October issue of Sports Illustrated. The image of the cover dropped today. I tweeted it out. It's on my Instagram as well if you want to go check it out if you haven't seen it yet. But this is another illustration of the value of brand built around athletics. I don't mean to belabor the point, and I know largely the audience I'm talking to here gets this because by the nature of the fact that you're taking your free time and not watching games, but listening to me talk about sports suggests you understand this and you understand the value of sports and you like sports. But 2 female athletes in their LSU gear, of course, Angel Reese in her uniform and Olivia Dunn in her leotard, are there posing for this photo in one of the archways in the quad at LSU, with the LSU brand across their chest and with the headline, "Why LSU Women's Program Rules the New College Sports Economy." How about that for a subjective line shown to the whole world about why your women's programs rule the new college sports economy? You cannot possibly buy that kind of attention. It is not possible. You could spend every dollar you want on radio live reads or TV commercials or print ads and billboards or whatever you want. No matter how much you spend, you will never get the value, the requisite value of that headline on that cover of SI, because that is third-party validation. That's someone completely independent validating the thing that you are doing and saying they are awesome, and everybody's going to look and go, wow. You can't buy it. You cannot buy that type of attention. And that creates a funnel effect for everything that has the LSU brand on it. Everything from the science department and the architectural department. Everything. Good on them. Check it out. SI, Olivia Dunn, and Angel Reese will be on the cover of the October SI. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. I want to get to the Panthers are down another start. I'll get to that here in just a moment. Quick reminder about Shawbills. Shawbillstire.com. Shawbillstire.com. Name brand tires at wholesale prices. That's Shawbills. Of course, with 17 locations across South Louisiana. Find that location nearest you, from Morgan City up to Baton Rouge, Denham Springs, West Baton Rouge into Lafayette, Youngsville. No matter where you are in South Louisiana, they got a Shaw Bills near you. ShawBillsTire.com, where they'll sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices, and they'll always treat you like family. It's Shaw Bills. ShawBillsTire.com. ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. Tuesday, but Ian Rappaport had it first. With surgery looming for Peyton Turner, New Orleans is signing former Bears edge rusher Terrell Lewis to their practice squad. That, according to sources, will wait for it to officially come on the transaction wire. But the Saints have added Terrell Lewis, who, by the way, was a Bama player, signed with Bama back in 2016, was a starter on that Bama team in 2019 that LSU beat at Bryant Dennehy Stadium. So, former member of the Crimson Tide, spent 3 years with the Rams, is joining the New Orleans Saints. We'll get to that later. Another day brought more bad news for the Carolina Panthers, the Saints' opponent on Monday Night Football. Frank Reich, their head coach, announced that Brady Christensen, their starting left guard, is going to IR. Injured his bicep late in the loss to the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday, 24-10. And so he's going to be on the shelf now for about a month. By the way, Reich also said that J.C. Horn, IR could be an option for J.C. Horn as well. Talked about him yesterday. So Carolina is basically back to where they were last year. Remember, their other starting guard, their starting right guard, Austin Corbett, began the season on IR. So Corbett, the right guard, is out. Christensen, the left guard, was injured in the game against the Falcons. Now he's going to IR. So the Panthers against the Saints are going to be without both of their starting offensive linemen. Corbett tore his ACL in the finale last year, and so he's been out since then. Christensen fractured his ankle against the Saints in the finale, worked to get back, and now injures his hamstring in week one. Or his bicep, in week one. Corbett tore his ACL. He's trying to get back for it now. Carolina offensively was pretty balanced in week one. And with a rookie quarterback, you might think they would lean more heavily on the run game, especially considering they drafted Chuba Hubbard. They went and got Miles Sanders in free agency. So considering you've got two really good backs, you would think they would have leaned a little more heavily on the run game, but they were balanced. They threw it 38 times and ran it 32 times. So 70 plays, and it was close to a 50-50 split. And the run game did well, by the way, with Hubbard and Sanders. They averaged 4.8 yards a carry against Atlanta. 32 rushes for 154 yards. That's a pretty good day on the ground. They just didn't move the ball in the air. Here was the problem. Bryce Young, it was just all check down Charlie. Hayden Hurst, their tight end, was their leading receiver, 5 for 41. Miles Sanders, their running back, was their second leading receiver, 4 for 26. Terrace Marshall was their leader among the wide receivers, 2 catches for 23 yards. And remember, they're still waiting on DJ Chark to get back. They added Adam Thielen in this offseason. They drafted Jonathan Mingo from Ole Miss. So they've got a lot of weapons, but distributing the ball to those weapons was kind of a problem. And Atlanta on Sunday against this Carolina offensive line, they got home. 2 sacks, 4 TFLs, 7 quarterback hits, 4 passes defensed, and 2 interceptions. They made Bryce Young's life miserable against that Carolina offensive line. Now you're taking Christensen out. So you're missing both of your interior line now, both starting guards against New Orleans. And that's an offensive line that struggled to protect Bryce Young in the pass game on Sunday in week one to begin with. So this remade Saints front seven has an awesome opportunity to impact this game on Sunday or on Monday Night Football, and they're going to need to. You got to stop the run and make Bryce Young beat you. And the Saints, while they gave up yards in the first half to Derrick Henry, did really a masterful job of limiting him in the second half, and Henry didn't go over 70 yards rushing against the New Orleans Saints. So if you were able to line up against that offensive line and that running game with Derrick Henry and limit them in theory, you should be able to do the same thing against Carolina. And oh, by the way, the threat of the passing game with Carolina isn't even as sincere as it was against Tennessee. And I get it, that's Ryan Tannehill, but they still had DeAndre Hopkins out there. I mean, they still had playmakers on the outside. So this is a huge opportunity for the New Orleans front seven to go limit the run, make Bryce Young beat you, and get home with the pass rush like Atlanta was able to do. See if the Saints are able to replicate that. One other little factoid to file away. With Christensen out, the starting left guard out, the guy most likely to replace him is a pretty familiar face to the New Orleans Saints. It's Calvin Throckmorton. Remember, the Saints cut Throckmorton. The Panthers picked him up, and he is on their 53-man roster and is most likely the guy that's going to replace Christensen at left guard against the Saints. So in just his second game with the Panthers, Throckmorton may see his old teammates. Now, I don't know who that benefits, but Throckmorton and the Saints defensive line were going up against each other in camp every day. So even though it's a new interior of the Saints defensive front, Throckmorton has some familiarity with them and they with him. So file that away on Monday Night Football if, in fact, it is Calvin Throckmorton who draws the start for the Carolina Panthers at left guard. But the Panthers will be without Brady Christensen. So both of their projected starters at offensive guard out. They're running the two deeps now against New Orleans on Monday Night Football. Okay, it's after further review. We're glad you're with us here. Hump Day Show is brought to you by Pluckers. Quick break. We'll go around the SEC. For once, maybe ever, I'm actually going to applaud the NCAA. That's coming up. And then some Bourbon Dictionary with Taylor Calandro in about 15 minutes from right now. Get your booze questions in, y'all. Glad to have you aboard with us here on a Hump Day edition of AFR presented by Pluckers.
AFR.
And what do you know? It's actually my opportunity to talk about Pluckers. Both locations. Nicholson and Bluebonnet. Dine-in, carry-out, delivery. 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings and something going on every night of the week. Tonight and every Wednesday, of course, is trivia. Oh, Muse, by the way. You're going to have a lot of success on trivia today. I know, but I'm calling the shot here that I think a 3-0 day for trivia for Muse is possible in trivia night. All right, it's Pluckers. Either location. Remember, 7:30 Bluebonnet, 8 o'clock Nicholson. 7:30 Bluebonnet, 8 o'clock Nicholson. 5 rounds of live action trivia. Get your team together. Test your knowledge. You could win Pluckers gift cards, Amazon gift cards, other great prizes. Every team gets to spin the prize wheel. So even if you don't win a prize, even if you don't win a round, you still get to spin the wheel. Maybe win free food from Pluckers, lots of great things. It's trivia every Wednesday at Pluckers, where if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP or 2.9% for 72 months on all new 23 Ram 1500 trucks in stock. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Officially, it's a fridge full of beer. Unofficially, it's free AC. Coors Light, the official beer of everything unofficial.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Cold in Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down the
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of Front to Back Boat Service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is...
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
It is a rare occurrence, I think, that that anybody is going to salute the NCAA, give them an old attaboy. But this is one of those instances where I'm going to. So if you haven't been following the story of what's going on at North Carolina with Tez Walker, I will, I'll catch you up. I'll give you the very abbreviated Cliff Notes because I'm going to assume most of you probably don't actually care. But I'll get to the point about the attaboy for the NCAA. So Tez Walker is a receiver who started his career at Kent State, I believe. He signed with East Tennessee State, tore his ACL, never went to East Tennessee State, instead enrolled at NC Central before the COVID season that was canceled. Ends up going to Kent State and then transfers to North Carolina. So he had already used his one-time transfer, and now in going to North Carolina was going to need a waiver. Well, the NCAA rejected his waiver. And Mack Brown teed off on the NCAA saying in a statement, quote, "Shame on you, NCAA, shame on you," in all caps, and said he has, quote, "never been more disappointed in a person, a group of people, or an institution than I am with the NCAA after Walker's waiver was denied." So again, Mack Brown tees off on the NCAA. The NCAA releases a statement because there were violent, as they put it, and possibly criminal threats directed at committee members who denied Walker's waiver. Are you following this? But in their statement, official statement from the NCAA board writes, "The Division I board is troubled by the public remarks made last week by some of the University of North Carolina leadership. Those comments directly contradict what we and our fellow Division I members and coaches called for vociferously, including UNC's own football coach. We are a membership organization, and rather than pursue a public relations campaign that can contribute to a charged environment for our peers who volunteer on committees, we encourage members to use the established and agreed upon procedures to voice concern and propose and adopt rule or policy changes if they are dissatisfied." Essentially, the NCAA said, "Hey, Mack Brown, remember, you're one of the ones that told us you wanted a waiver process, a more stringent waiver process for multiple time transfers. And as a matter of fact, oh man, Twitter can be a bitch. The internet certainly can be a bitch whenever you look at history and past instances, because they're basically, the internet right now and Twitter is aflutter with people finding Mack Brown's quotes from last year saying he wanted a more stringent waiver process. and that the transfer portal was ruining college athletics. Y'all, I mean, God bless, but if that's what you lobbied for and now it comes back to bite you, that's on you, Mac Brown. And I actually, listen, y'all know where I come from on this. You know where I stand on this. I am the biggest pro-student athlete guy ever. I'm okay with everybody transferring every year and being eligible with no waiver process. I'm okay with no limitations on NIL or how you fund collectives or any of that stuff. If some old person is willing, a rich person's willing to pay a student athlete, God bless, it's their money. They can do what they want with it. It's not a level playing field. Tough. Get better. You think it's ever been a level playing field in college athletics where the same 5 teams are in the playoff or right tampering around the playoff every year? It's the same teams every darn year. But this is the rule everybody wanted, including Mac Brown. You wanted a more stringent waiver process. They give you a waiver process, then you're pissed at the NCAA for implementing the rule you wanted? That's on you, Mac Brown. I am mad at the NCAA for that. You wanted the waiver process. They gave you a stricter waiver process. Now it bites you in the ass and you're upset? That's on you. And on the NCAA. Listen to me defending the NCAA. Oh. Anyone checked on Satan? Is it cold down there? All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by Traction, TractionSports.com. We'll go around the SEC in just a quick second. Taylor Calandro in 10 minutes. TractionSports.com, where champions are made, of course. If your son or daughter wants to be the best they can be in whatever sport that is, Traction. All summer long when I was going to work out every morning at Traction, you'd see the St. Joseph's Academy soccer team, the Parkview Baptist softball team. So many teams have their whole team training there at Traction. If you want individual sports-specific training for your son or daughter, they could do it at Traction. Pitching lab upstairs at the indoor facility is awesome for young pitchers trying to hone their skills and improve. It doesn't matter whatever the goal is. If the goal is to be a collegiate athlete, or if the goal is, hey, you're on the JV in your high school team and you want to make the varsity, Traction can help you get there. TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made. Okay, we do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Kentucky Wildcats.
Kentucky offensive coordinator Liam Cohen has been released from the hospital. He plans to be working this week for the home game against Akron. As a matter of fact, he tweeted, "See ya Saturday at Kroger Field." Cohen is 37 years old. Had what was described as a medical episode Sunday while working at the football team's office. Spent a couple nights in the hospital, but back at work now and ready to roll. Cohen, of course, had been at Kentucky last year, spent one season with the LA Rams, now is back in Lexington.
The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn cornerback Donovan Kaufman was the only notable absence from Auburn's practice on Tuesday. Cornerback Nehemiah Pritchett did not participate in drills before UMass, but has been practicing since. Still may not be available this week. We'll see. Auburn plays Samford Saturday night at 6.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
And an injury update as Carolina is getting ready to head down to Athens to take on the number 1 team in the country. Nick Imanwari was back on the practice field. Shane Beamer said the sophomore safety not yet a full participant, but they're working him and ramping him up to being ready for Saturday against Georgia. Imanwari's status questionable. Had a hamstring injury against North Carolina and then did not dress last week as they're trying to get him ready. Also, Amrion Brown's hamstring injury prevented him from practicing on Tuesday. They're trying to see if they can get him back for this weekend as well. Okay, there you have it. That is Around the SEC presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy, Trey Beal, and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. You know where to find them, gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Tell you all the time, face-to-face sales, service after the sale. That's what they do at Gulf Coast Office Products. And make sure you ask about interactive whiteboards. No matter if you're a 2-person business or 2,000-person business, no matter the size of your company, the interactive whiteboards, they have an option for businesses literally of any size, and it is an affordable option. You got to learn more about the interactive whiteboards. They got it at Gulf Coast Office Products, gcopnet.com. All right, y'all, it's after further review. Both Brian Kelly and Zach Arnett were on the SEC Coaches teleconference earlier today. So we'll let you hear more of what both BK and Zach Arnett had to say, and some of the matchups that are pretty critical for this game. Interestingly enough, one of the things Arnett talked about, number 2, please, was his offensive line needing to improve this week with LSU coming in.
There's good plays where we see what they're capable of doing, but obviously our consistency has to improve. It's every position group. We've done some good things in the run game. We've done some good things in protection. We've had some really bad-looking plays in both the run game and the protection, and so we have to improve our execution and our consistency.
Pretty stunning to see a Mississippi State offense averaging just 416 yards through 2 weeks, 2 non-conference weeks, one of those against an FCS opponent, and they're running for more yards than they're passing. 221 average rushing through 2 weeks, just 194 in the air. Can they keep Will Rogers clean? It is stark the more I watch the Mississippi State for the past 2 weeks and going back and looking at some of the Arizona game, which I didn't see real time because they were playing the same time that LSU was playing against Grambling, and obviously the Texas-Alabama game was on. So Mississippi State and Arizona real time wasn't at the forefront of my mind. But that's a game where Arizona, which is not a big physical team, muddied that game up and was limiting State at the line of scrimmage. And State got 5 takeaways in that game. 5 takeaways. And still needed overtime to beat Arizona on their home field 31-24. This is one of those games, y'all, that LSU's got to go win it. I mean, if whatever your feeling is on this team, and I know earlier this week, I said pretty point blank, I'm not telling you that LSU's going 11-1, but what I'm telling you is there's not a game on this schedule where I say, all right, give me my Sharpie. I got to go write an L on the schedule poster. I don't see that game on this schedule. But this is one where if you go on the road and lose to this Mississippi State team, keep it in mind, this isn't Mike Leach's Mississippi State team. This is Zach Arnett's Mississippi State team. If you go on the road and lose to Mississippi State, then whatever we all thought this season might have been will be a distant memory. And this is a team that very likely, if you can't go on the road and beat State, is very likely staring at an 8-4, 7-5 type season. You go on the road and win this game by double digits, of which you are very capable, then everything is very much still in play. This is a really good barometer game for this LSU team, just 2 weeks removed from the Florida State loss. All right, it's after further review. Quick break. Hump Day Show is brought to you by Pluckers. When we come back, do a little Bourbon Dictionary with Taylor Calandro. You know the drill. Get your booze questions in. You can text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways to get your questions in. Do it now. It's AFR.
AFR.
And, of course, AFR is brought to you by Rouse's, where you can get any of that booze. You want beer, you want whiskey, you want wine. They got it for you over at Rouse's. And remember, they've got at Rouse's a really cool promo that they're doing. It's the buy 4, save more on wine and other adult beverages. But in particular, if you've always wanted to try more wine, different wines, this is a great way to do it, where you can mix and match and save to allow you to try other wines that you may otherwise never pick up. It's at Rouse's. Great wine selection at all the Rouse's locations. More than 60 of them, as a matter of fact, from Lake Charles all the way to Orange Beach, Alabama. It's Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. If you're going to make groceries, Rouse's can help. Make sure you download the Rouse's app. They got their curbside pickup option where your personal shopper will go pick up your items. Use the promo code SAINTS20 and save $20 on orders of $100 or more. That's at Rouse's. This feels like home.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Get 3.99% financing on select 2023 models at Corvell Toyota in Opelousas. And we also have a large selection of pre-owned inventory. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Electricity is all around us.
and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
It was a humid day. Barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
They're the gang with the slang. This is Bourbon Dictionary with Matt Moscona and Taylor Calandro.
All right, let's get it. Get your booze questions in. You can email us, you can tweet us, or X.
Hey, Twitter. Oh, no, not Twitter. Hey, X World.
And as George Truly. You can always text in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Taylor Calandro joins us to answer your booze questions. How are you, dude?
Good. What's up, man?
Another day. And you know what? I woke up yesterday and it was 68 degrees outside when I went to the gym early, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah, that was a little chill in the air, man, and I think it's supposed to stay this way for a while, hopefully.
Little taste of fall. A little taste of fall. I like it.
Yeah, and I've noticed a little spike in the brown liquor sales.
Very good. Well, we got a lot of questions therein, so we're going to get to them. Let me first ask, as we always do, anything new thereabouts?
Yeah, we got Basil Hayden has a new release, part of the series they've been doing. It is a 100% malted rye. We got it today. It's $60. I don't really know much about it. I haven't really read any reviews. We got it like an hour ago. I'm very anxious to try it.
Malted rye, huh?
Yeah.
What are the characteristics of a malted rye?
Well, I mean, it's 100% malt. I'm really not too familiar with it. It's kind of a unique thing that they've done, so I'm not too familiar with it. I'm going to try to taste it this week, and I'm going to get back to you on this one.
You said it's $60?
$60, yeah.
Wow.
And we got a little bit of McKenna 10-year.
Hey.
Today too.
All right, save me a bottle. I'll come.
A little
by.
allocated shout out.
I'll come by. Save me a bottle. I'll come by and get it after the show. But that you hold bottles, right?
Wait, what?
You hold bottles, right? For close
Only
friends.
For you. Only for you.
That is
Wait, are we where we lie.
That's a bald-faced lie is what that is. All right, let's get to some questions here. Taylor Calandro's with us. Jamie Leday said, I asked Taylor, can bourbon taste be affected by extreme heat temperatures? I have several bottles in my shop, man cave, that gets very hot.
Yeah, I would not keep bottles in places that fluctuates in super hot or cold temperatures, and it's more that has to do with the cork contracting and getting oxygen and getting in the bottle and stuff like that. So, I wouldn't do that. I'd keep it in a room temperature space where you know it's safe.
That's good to know. I mean, I knew not to put whiskey in like super hot places, but I didn't know why. But the cork is an interesting explanation.
Best place to store whiskey is room temperature, just in your kitchen or wherever. Up, right side up, not bottle laying down like wine. Right side up, in a dark cabinet. That's it.
Hey, why is it? Because with wine, the reason you lay it down, right, so that the wine keeps the cork wet, right? So the cork doesn't dry and disintegrate. Why wouldn't you do that with whiskey then?
Well, the whiskey will eat through the cork.
Got it. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
All right, Ethan.
The proof of the alcohol is too high, and eventually it'll start eroding the cork over time.
Makes sense. Ethan Mott, what mead should I pick up at Calandro's?
We've got the Viking mead, Vikingerness. I'm not super familiar with meads. I'm just not a big fan of them. They're kind of cloyingly sweet for me. But we've got the Viking meads, and we've got I've tried all the Moonlight meads. They're really good. A bunch of flavors. If you're looking for flavored stuff, there's probably 15 different flavors of Moonlight mead, and those are from New Hampshire, I think, so they're domestic.
Beer question for you. Sean Comiskey said, ask Taylor, outside of Sam Adams, what's the best Oktoberfest that you recommend?
Try one of the locals, man. Gnarly Barley makes a good Oktoberfest. And I've also suggested the Old World Oktoberfest beers. They've been doing it for 200, 300, 400 years, so they know what they're doing.
What any brands or any that you carry?
Weissteiner, Warsteiner, Paulaner makes a good Oktoberfest. You just go look in the international beer section. There's Oktoberfest beer spread around all over the place.
Okay. Nathan, how'd you get your questions in for Taylor? Email us. You could tweet us, or you could text 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Nathan Hodge said, ask Taylor, thoughts and recommendations for sherry cask whiskey. He says, I've tried Bunnahabhain 12-year.
He's looking for Scotch?
He said sherry cask whiskey.
I mean, there's a bunch of different sherry cask whiskey. If it's Scotch, because he said Bunnahabhain, I would suggest like a Balvenie, or I mean, all the Macallans are good, and pretty much most of them are finished in sherry.
Let's see, we get a couple more in here. By the way, when is you mentioned that you got some McKenna 10 in today, which has been very. Do you want to take a quick second and explain McKenna 10, because that's like just rocketed in popularity the past few years?
Yeah, so McKenna 10 is a Heaven Hill product, but I don't know how long ago that was, 5-6 years ago. One of the specific single barrels, because it is a single barrel whiskey, it's a 10-year-old. One of the specific single barrels won gold for number one whiskey in the world, basically, I think, at the San Francisco Wine and Spirits Festival, or it was number one whiskey in the world on one of the ratings website. Anyway, after that happened, it went bonkers. I think it was San Francisco Wine and Spirits Festival.
Yeah, it was.
So ever since then, the price has like doubled, and we get like a case every 3 or 4 months, and we got one today.
Okay. Let's see, a couple more. Whiskey is from Jimbo. Said, what's a whiskey similar to Angel's Envy Rye for half the cost?
Woo! That is like a very, very hard question to answer. There's not really a whiskey like Angel's Envy Rye. I'd find a rum for $40.
Oh, that's a good point. So
that's such a hard bottle to duplicate. I mean, there's other rum finished rye, but like most of them aren't any less expensive, and they're just not even the same.
He is Taylor Calandro from Calandro's. You can get by and check him out there. He joins us every single Wednesday here. Of course, it's a Whiskey Wednesday, so he answers. It's morphed, however, from just whiskey to lots of booze questions. So you can get your booze questions in here. Wine and Spirits Director over at Calandro's. We appreciate it, dude. Thanks.
All right, Matt. Thank you.
All right, man. Have a good one. It's After Further Review. We're glad you're here with us here. Our Hump Day shows brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson and Bluebonnet. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. Trivia tonight and every Wednesday, by the way. 7:30 Bluebonnet, 8 o'clock Nicholson. When we come back, our buddy Chris Trapasso over at CBS Sports has his latest NFL mock draft, and there is one name. There's some LSU guys on it we'll get to, but there is one name on this mock draft that will floor you, and I want to talk about what it means next on AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com. That's Michelli.com. With 31 offices across 11 different states, you're never far. You know where to find them. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Always encourage you to go to the website because I get so much great resource on the website. But all the things they do, our nation's largest distributor of scales, all the industries they serve, all the precision measurement devices that they can calibrate, the ISO 17025 accreditation, all the things that I talk about. What really stands out is their customer service. Over the years, Michelli has won so much business because customers who might be dissatisfied about turnaround time or lack of communication, or whatever the case may be with someone else, and Michelli steps in and you realize, despite the fact they've been around for 76 years and they've grown the way they have, they love to do business face-to-face with a handshake and a phone call. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. The East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office says diligent police work led them to find the soldier who allegedly fired a gun at a car on Segan Lane. The shooting happened following a road rage incident there and ended near South Mall Drive. The mother says a man wearing military fatigues fired a shot at her car. Find out how detectives tracked him down. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP or 2.9% for 72 months on all new 23 Ram 1500 trucks in stock. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Christine Lisi, breaking news. Rangers righty Max Scherzer will miss the rest of the regular season with an upper arm strain. It's unlikely he's back for the postseason should Texas make it, but he will not need surgery. Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers has yet to schedule surgery on his torn Achilles. According to coach Robert Saleh, he is receiving consultations trying to figure out his next best move. Meantime, the Jets preparing for the Cowboys on Sunday with former first-round pick Zach Wilson as their starter. Former Jets quarterback Vinny Testaverde.
A lot of the things I saw him do on Monday night, he made some great throws. He moved around the pocket. He got rid of the ball when he should have. There's a one interception. I think he just lost track of the linebacker because he threw it right to him. Those things happen, so he'll learn from that, and he'll move on, and the team will get better because of it.
Vinny Testaverde on unsportsmanlike. The NFLPA is calling for the league to change all of its fields to natural grass following the Rodgers injury. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski is reporting NBA's Board of Governors unanimously approved tougher resting policy rules and punishments for star players who sit out games.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. We're headed up to Charlotte in 15 minutes. We'll check in with our buddy Julian Council to get an update on the Panthers as the Saints and the Panthers get set to tangle on Monday Night Football. Chris Trapasso has been a good friend of the show for a lot of years and does a really good job. He's with CBS Sports. He's their CBS Sports NFL draft analyst, so he's a guy that puts out mock drafts and scouting reports and all that sort of stuff. He's got his latest mock draft out right now. And of no surprise to many, I'm sure, the first pick that he has overall in the draft is Southern Cal quarterback Caleb Williams. Again, no surprise to anybody. Maybe the bigger surprise, he's got Marvin Harrison Jr. going number 2 overall. So there are a bevy of really good receivers in this draft. The first, by the way, Brock Bowers, number 3. Laiatu Latu, the edge from UCLA, number 4. Joe Alt, the offensive lineman out of Notre Dame, number 5. Big offensive lineman from Penn State. Olimuwa Fashanu, number 6. And then how about Malik Neighbors, number 7 to the Bears? Second wide receiver off the board in the draft. Chris Trapasso says LSU's Malik Neighbors. A more offensive skill talent for Justin Fields in Chicago. Neighbors has a very multi-dimensional game that would complement DJ Moore well. So about that. If you're wondering about the other receivers, there are a plethora. Drake May, 9 to Minnesota. J.J. McCarthy, 10 to Seattle. The Michigan quarterback, 10 overall to Seattle. I mentioned as we were going to break, though, that there was one pick in this draft that was really going to surprise. It's not Keon Coleman down there at 13. And Jared Verse at 15 to the Rams. Johnny Wilson, the other Florida State wide receiver, 16 to Tampa. Quinn Ewers, Texas quarterback, 17. And he's loaded up with quarterbacks. Should be of no surprise. The one that surprised me, and likely will surprise many, is who Chris Trapasso is going 24 overall, and that's Dion Sanders out of Colorado to the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the Falcons did, of course, just a year ago, take a guy that they feel very well could be their their quarterback of the future. I mean, they're giving Desmond Ridder a run right now. But Shedeur Sanders has been hard to ignore the first couple of weeks, and he is a junior, so he is draft eligible. Now, it's not just Chris Trapasso. Mel Kiper today at ESPN updated his latest big board. Now, keep in mind, the big board isn't a mock draft. It is just a ranking of the best prospects in this draft. And Mel Kiper has Shedeur Sanders on his big board, number 5 overall. From not even listed to in 2 weeks being the 5th best prospect in the draft. Not 5th best quarterback. 5th best prospect in the draft altogether. Stunning. But he's deserved it because he's been awesome so far this year. His accuracy, his size, his calm in the pocket, all the things you look for, he keeps checking those boxes. The reason I bring that up, in particular about Shedeur Sanders, is because of something we talked about on Monday here. Let's hop into the Wayback Machine, if we would, and go back to Monday. I said this on Monday here on the show. I want to throw this out there, and I'm just throwing this out there for the sake of going on the record. The more conversations I have about Dion and the whole spectacle of it all, the more and more convinced I am that he's going to end up in the SEC in a couple of years. He's not going to leave Colorado while Shedeur and Travis Hunter are there. But I think there is I'm just putting this out there. I think there's a better than good chance that Dion is in Boulder next year, and then when Shedeur and Travis Hunter go pro, Dion's in the SEC. So the real question... hit the harp again. Okay. So back to present day. That was Monday on the show. So it's really interesting because Shedeur, in theory, is going to have a decision to make. Does he go pro after this year? I mean, if this holds and he is going to be mocked as a top 5 pick, potentially, top 10 pick, do you go? Or do you come back to Colorado, play another season with Travis Hunter, and then go pro next year where you potentially could be the first pick in the draft? It's a decision that clearly he's going to have to make if this continues the way it is. But my caveat there was for as long as Shedeur and Travis Hunter are in Boulder, Dion ain't leaving. It was interesting because as I was perusing Twitter earlier today, I ran across this conversation between Paul Feinbaum and Matt Berry of ESPN on Matt Berry's podcast. Listen to what Matt Berry and Paul, listen to what Paul had to say.
I had a colleague ask me today, and this is where we are on the morning after. Who do you think the top 3 candidates would be if, quote unquote, Nick Saban retired? And I don't know if Prime is on that list or not, but why not? When I was trying to think of some of the names, I mean, they're all just nice coaches, but none of them have the star power. I mean, quite frankly, Nick Saban doesn't have the star power that Dion Sanders has right now.
Paul Feinbaum advocating for Dion to Alabama. Matt Berry, by the way, on the same podcast agreed.
If I were a program of top 10 power, right? If I'm one of the most powerful programs in the country, and for whatever reason, a coaching switch is in the cards, Paul, Dion Sanders is my number 1 call, and I'm not even thinking twice about it.
For what it's worth, the schools that I had conversations about most likely to have an opening in that period, Florida, Missouri. Like, if it don't work out with Billy Napier and Prime is available, you better bet everything you own the Gators will go all in to get Dion to Gainesville. And then Missouri as well. Missouri has sneaky good resources and money and could be something worth keeping an eye on there. And then you hear these guys talking about the possibility of him being Nick's replacement in Alabama. Nick and Dion get along great. They do the Aflac commercials together and all that stuff. So I tell you, man, set it on Monday to go on the record. It's nothing that's going to break today or tomorrow within a year or anything like that, but it's worth keeping an eye on because more and more people are having that conversation. And I don't mean people, I don't mean like people are anonymous people are tweeting at each other about it. I mean, power brokers in major college football and in the Southeastern Conference are having that conversation. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. If you want to bet on college football, DraftKings, great place to do it. You want to bet on the NFL? We are heading into week 2 of the NFL, y'all. Week 2 starts on Thursday Night Football, and of course, all throughout the month of September. If you're a new customer, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. New customers, use the promo code Baton Rouge, make a $5 bet on the NFL. They'll give you $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Again, new customers, download the app, use the promo code Baton Rouge, $5 bet on the NFL, and DraftKings will give you $200 in bonus bets instantly. DraftKings is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and this football season, this September, everybody wins. New and existing customers, every single game day, they'll have new promos. So go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app every single game day during September. So that's Thursday Night Football, Sunday, Monday Night Football, and check to see what great offers and deals that they have every single game day throughout September. That's at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code Baton Rouge. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football. Terms. Licensed partner Golden Nugget Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. All right, y'all. It is After Further Review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Let's head up to Charlotte. Russ Mitchell in 1 hour. When we come back, we're heading to Charlotte. Our buddy Julian Council, who covers the Panthers, is going to jump aboard with us. Boy, they have been bitten by the injury bug early. A loss to start the Bryce Young era. Now the Bryce Young era at home begins on Monday Night Football with the Houdats coming in. We will check in on the Panthers when we return here on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery, and y'all, pumpkins are here. It is time to decorate. You can find the perfect pumpkins. You can stack up some hay bales. You can accent your space indoor or out with squash and gourds. You can finish the look with corn stalks and Indian corn. Y'all, I get it. When you go outside and it's 95 degrees and it's sweltering and it's hot, it feels like summer. But today is September the 13th. We are a little more than a month away from Halloween. It is time to start decorating for fall. It is time to get those fall bedding plants in the ground. If you want to plant that fruit tree, this is the time of year to do it. New shipments of peaches, plums, figs, nectarines, pears, apples, all those types of trees, they got them at Clegg's Nursery. Check any of the 4 locations: Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Buy local, shop local, and tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on select new 23 Ford F-150 trucks. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all you can eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Are we going to get to Julian Council here in just a quick second? Covers the Panthers. Check in on the Panthers before Monday Night Football. Just really quickly while we connect. After the Aaron Rodgers injury on Monday Night Football, the NFLPA, who has a new head, by the way, his name is Lloyd Howell. Lloyd Howell is calling for all NFL venues to switch to natural grass. There's a couple of things that are pretty obvious here. Number one, but by the way, so he says that the players overwhelmingly prefer natural grass to artificial turf. For what it's worth, the NFL's recent rate of non-contact injuries, they commissioned a study. Non-contact injuries to knees, ankles, and feet were roughly the same on natural grass as artificial surfaces. So there's not necessarily a clear distinction between the two, but you would have very real issues at places like New Orleans. Like, how do you get natural grass in the Superdome? I don't. That's literally not even a feasible option. So it's something worth following, but I don't even know that the turf is what caused the injury to Aaron Rodgers. But in any event, it's something worth watching. The Saints hit the road Monday Night Football, take on the Carolina Panthers. They'll open up division play there in Charlotte. Our buddy Julian Council is good enough to join us here for a couple of minutes. Julian, we always appreciate it, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, Matt. Thought I'd join you on video once in a while now, because every time I join, I see the photo afterwards that y'all use of me, which is like 8 years old. So I'm like, you know what? No more of that. People are going to see my fresh face. I was like 22 when that photo was taken. Now I'm 30. I'm old and grizzled. So I got to be on video today.
Old and grizzled at 30. But you know what we should just use? Like, for next time we could use your shot there on Twitter. That's great. I mean, you got the open collar look. You got the sport coat. I mean, that looks official right there. That's Paulie. We got to do this next time if Julian's not on video. We got to use this photo. I like
Yes, please.
I like
use that one.
All right. We will strike the former photo forever from our records. Hey,
love it.
How are the vibes there after a week one loss, but the first time under a rookie quarterback? We all know the expectations long term are high. How are the vibes after week one?
The vibes internally are good. Frank Reich believes that he saw enough good things from that week one loss, despite the 3 turnovers and 2 of them from Bryce Young. He said overall that he thought that Bryce played well. That a couple of the turnovers, one of them, the first interception, he blamed on himself, where there's a lack of communication between him and Bryce in the headset that led to a delay of game, which of course changed up the play call there. That led to J.C. Bates jumping on the route, getting the interception. And it looked like the second one was Bryce making the same mistake twice, but Bates kind of went off script, did his own thing. And now moving forward, I think a lot of defenses that play, or a lot of offenses that play Atlanta, will be able to adjust towards that. The Panthers just weren't able to do that week one, but Frank Reich feels good about his team coming out of that game. Now the fan base, well, a little different story, as people are freaking out after watching Bryce struggle with 3 turnovers, and Atlanta had 221 yards. It wasn't like the Falcons were that great. Ritter threw for 91 yards. In the NFL, if you allow 91 yards, you should win that game. So the fan base, they're freaking out a little bit. Losing a divisional game, knowing the Saints are coming to town on Monday night, the vibes aren't great for the fans, but internally, the Panthers don't seem to be all that concerned about the rough start on Sunday.
So, Julian, that's my other big question, really, is if when we talk about expectations, this is a Panthers team that they picked first overall, but not because they were the worst team in the league. They were 7-10. Yeah. They had the same record as the Saints and beat the Saints twice. So there's a lot of pieces there. It would stand to reason that they should be able to compete. Is this a season where internally the Panthers are expecting to be able to compete in this division and to maybe win it and go to the playoffs?
I would say no.
Okay.
I would say no because of multiple things. Well, Bryce Young, first off, rookie quarterback. And I recall reading from Monday Morning Quarterback, Albert Breer had a column or conversation rather with Frank Reich right before training camp opened up, talking about how it would be a process with Bryce Young, talking about 2 to 3 years. And understand, for most quarterbacks coming out of college, it takes that long. It took Josh Allen that long. Patrick Mahomes is really the only guy who comes out immediately. And that was really his second year out of college, where he was able to blow up in his first year as a starter. It took Jalen Hurts some time. So you know by year 3 whether you have the guy. So I know Panther fans don't want to hear that, but when it comes to expectations, they really shouldn't be placed on this team until 2025. Now, if things go right this year, as far as Bryce's development, you could see 24 as being a year where this team can contend for the division, if not at least be there in the wild card. So I'll say one, Bryce Young, his development, that's one of the reasons why I don't think they're expecting to contend right away. The second thing is just look at the positions groups around Bryce Young as far as offensively and the wide receivers. DJ Chark's been a Pro Bowler, but that Pro Bowl season was an anomaly. And right now he's dealing with injuries, which has really held him back in his career. Adam Thielen's 33. The Vikings moved off of him for a reason, and the guy they took in the first round to replace him, Jordan Addison, had a touchdown on Sunday. I look at the receiving core, and that does not look like a receiving core for a team that's expecting to be in the playoffs, weak division or not. And then defensively, Brian Burns is excellent. For whatever reason, they still haven't paid the guy. They went out and they brought in Justin Houston opposite of him as an edge rusher, but that's not a long-term solution. That's just something that you do. They make sure at least there's some sort of help for Brian. So there's still a lot of holes on this roster that would lead me to believe that the Panthers aren't all that invested in winning right now, but more so invested in developing Bryce and then seeing where they're at come December and January.
Okay. He's on Twitter at Julian Council, Locked on Panthers. Make sure you subscribe up, especially this week. Get all your Panthers news. I want to ask about Brady Christensen, the left guard and the bicep injury. So both offensive guards now are out. How does that impact Bryce and this offense as a whole?
It could be bad. I was already concerned with Chandler Zavala, who's the 4th round pick at NC State's been filling in at right guard, and whether he could hold up. And so far, he looked good on Sunday and the limited snaps that he had in the preseason to even win that job. He's looked solid. So the expectation is that he'll either stay at right guard or maybe slide over to left guard, where he'll be linking up with Ike Ekwonu, who he played at NC State with. Only 5 games, though, before he had a season-ending injury a couple years ago. But those two guys at least practice together, have somewhat of a chemistry together on the left side. So I would expect that to happen. Then after that, at right guard, looking at Cade Mays, 6th-round pick out of Tennessee from a year ago, to potentially fill in there. Justin McCray, he's a veteran who's been with offensive line coach James Campen in Cleveland and in Houston, but had a really bad preseason, didn't make the initial 53-man roster, currently on a practice squad. He's going to get a look. Nash Jensen, who's their UDFA out of North Dakota State, played 70 games in college. And that's a ton of games, as we know. A lot of guys are playing 7, 8 years now, but not too many dudes are playing 70 games. So he's going to get an opportunity to potentially start there in one of those guard positions starting off on Monday night. They're going to figure it out tomorrow. That's what Frank Reich said, is Thursdays when they want to figure out who that guy's going to be. So they have 3 options, but in the interior of the offensive line, certainly some concern, as there's going to be some youth there at both those guard spots for the Panthers.
I want to flip it over to defense. No J.C. Horns, and it's unfortunate. That guy's been hurt his whole career, but he's hurt again. Yeah. And so how do the Panthers try to match up against the Saints wide receiver group, which Julian finally looks healthy and really pretty good.
I don't know if they can now that Horn's out, honestly. And Michael Thomas is already a problem. It's good to see him back. I know Panther fans always like to somehow disparage him by saying he only runs slant routes. Like, okay, well, the guy only set a record for receiving yards in a season. But sure, he's a fantastic player. And in Chris Olave, oh, my God, he's a dude. I don't see how the Panthers, who lose J.C. Horn, who's by far their top cover corner. Dante Jackson, he's had his moments in the league, but he hasn't been able to stay healthy just like J.C. Horn. But he's certainly a rung down from J.C. Horn talent-wise. And we saw a couple years ago when he was matched up with Terry McLaurin, who's one of the best receivers in the league. He got cooked that day. And anytime he's really been against some of those top receivers, Dante has struggled. I think he's a solid player, but when you're asking him to defend Michael Thomas or Chris Olave and be the guy for you in that secondary at that corner spot, that's going to be tough for Carolina. Troy Hill, they brought in late. Right before the regular season started. He has experience with this defense being in Los Angeles the last couple of years. He's likely going to start at that other corner spot. CJ Henderson, who's so far been a bust, a top 10 pick out of Florida, who started off in Jacksonville. The Panthers traded for him a couple years ago. He hasn't been great. The only big pass play of the day that he gave up was to a Florida Gator and Kyle Pitts on Sunday, and that salted the game away for Atlanta. He's not someone the Panthers have been able to trust, whether it's last staff and now this staff here in Carolina. So I have a hard time seeing how they can match up, especially at that corner spot against those wide receivers now that they've lost J.C. Horn.
All right, so Julian, a couple more minutes here on Twitter at Julian Council, Locked on Panthers podcast. So the Saints are a 3-point favorite. So essentially what they're saying is neutral field, it's a pick 'em. So it feels like you talking, the sense is the Saints have a lot of advantages. Where's the equalizer? What are we missing here where the edge goes to Carolina?
Oh, man. I think the Panthers can run the football. We did see that on Sunday. Miles Sanders had a fumble that cost him, but overall, he looked good in his first action with the Panthers. Didn't get to see him in the preseason. Chuba Hubbard, that man ran hard on Sunday. I do think the Panthers can establish something on the ground. Now, there is, of course, concerns in the interior, but Bradley Bozeman, the center, really is the guy who can get that push going. And Ike Ekwonu is excellent, too, on that left side at left tackle with the run game. So I think they can run the football. We'll see how they're able to move those guards. Really, you're just bringing in one other new guy in there. Zavala did well as far as running the football and helping out with that, with the rushing game on Sunday. I'm trying to think, is Saints have the quarterback advantage. They have better receivers. They probably have better corners right now after watching the game on Sunday for sure. On the edge, possibly with Brian Burns getting after the passer, that might be the Panthers' advantage. It's tough to see one right now after week one and some of the injuries that they've sustained, because that's the problem. The injuries on the offensive line, the injuries at wide receiver, DJ Chark, who was at practice today, still TBD on whether he plays, and he would certainly help a wide receiver core that had 63 receiving yards on Sunday.
That's crazy.
63. That's awful at the NFL level.
It was Hayden Hurst.
They're banged up, man.
I mean, it was Hayden Hurst and Miles Sanders were the two leading pass catchers. You had a tight end and a running back.
That was it.
I mean, look, the Saints have been there before when they featured the tight end and when Kamara was being featured. But man, that's it. Yes, it looks different right now for Carolina. Last thing, for Frank Reich, what is the blueprint on Monday Night Football to beat the Saints and get a win?
They got to find ways to get Bryce comfortable early on in that game. They just never established the passing game on Sunday. The one touchdown drive that they did have that ended in a Hayden Hurst touchdown reception, Bryce converted a couple out routes on some third downs. And if they're able to find some easy throws for him, get him in a rhythm, and just have these receivers really get on the same page with him. And that's the hope over the next couple of days leading up to Monday, which I do think the Panthers have somewhat of an advantage where if they can get Chark back and they can have Terrace Marshall out in the field because he missed a lot of time, had to play a ton of snaps on Sunday without having that connection with Bryce. And it was noticeable. That will help. So if the receivers and the quarterback can get on the same page and really build that momentum early in the game, I think that's what Frank Reich wants to do. I do think this defense, even with the questions in the secondary, particularly at corner, I still think that's a fantastic unit. And it's not like Atlanta, they don't have a great passing game in the first place, but it's not like Atlanta was really able to challenge them all that much on Sunday. They got to be better against the run, which I think they will, but they can get after the passer. At 4 sacks, in that first half on Sunday afternoon. Saw Derek Brown get in on the action. Of course, Brian Burns had a second half. Frankie Louvu, who had 7 sacks last year, was excellent for them as well in the pass game as far as getting after the passer. So if really it's going to come down to just getting Bryce comfortable, being able to build some momentum with that receiving game, and then be able to use the run, maybe use some play action, and then the defense just try bend, don't break, maybe come up with some turnovers, something we weren't able to do on Sunday, and the Panthers could have a chance to win that game on Monday night. But it's certainly going to be a tall order just with some of the injuries that they've sustained so early on in the season against a Saints team that I told you before the start of the season, I think is the class of the NFC South. I mean, how much does that really mean in the grand scheme of the NFL? Well, I guess it's enough to get to the playoffs, but we'll see how it looks like on Monday night.
You mentioned Dante Jackson, DJ Chark, Terrace Marshall, a lot of LSU guys up there in Carolina, man. They like that Tiger blood up there.
Yes, they do. Dion Jones on the practice squad, too.
Yeah, there you guys know. He's on Twitter at Julian Council. Give him a follow, subscribe up to Locked On Panthers. We appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Absolutely, Matt. Take care, man.
Be well. Julian Council does a great job there covering the Panthers. It's one of those things where Jimmy Ott might call it the Roto-Rooter stinky line of the week. I mean, again, it's the NFL and everybody's good, but it's one of those where when you look at the matchups, it's a game where it feels like you should lean more heavily Saints. You look at it, it's like 3-point spread. The Saints going on the Panthers on the road to Charlotte to take on the Panthers there in Carolina. Okay, it's after further review. Russ Mitchell in 45 minutes. Excited about that. The Saints did add a defensive end. We'll talk about that coming up after the top of the hour, 30 minutes from right now. When we come back, Brian Kelly and Zach Arnett on the SEC coaches teleconference earlier today. We'll let you hear what each coach had to say before the Tigers and the Bulldogs duke it out there in Starkville. We'll also get some overrated, underrated Tigers and the Pros. Ton to do. We're glad you're with us here on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Renaissance Hotel and the Watermark Hotel, 2 awesome hotel properties right here in Baton Rouge. The Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown, as they call it, right there on Bluebonnet. And inside the Renaissance is where you'll find Tallulah. Tallulah is a casual, upscale dining experience. Again, another hat tip and congratulations to Chef Jason Aber. I told you this is a chef-curated menu. Chef Jason has been Maine, San Francisco, points in between, from Baton Rouge, Redemptress proud, and now back as the executive chef there at the Renaissance Hotel, right there inside, at the Tallulah inside the Renaissance Hotel. So get on by and check it out. If you want a business lunch, fantastic. The best gourmet burger you'll ever eat. You want to go have a fun night out, have a cocktail, glass of wine, have their amazing pork chop entree. It's awesome. It's Tallulah inside the Renaissance Hotel.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP or 2.9% for 72 months on all new 23 Ram 1500 trucks in stock. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Obviously, we've got quite a challenge in front of us. One of the most talented teams in the league, LSU. Obviously, every year, we're one of the most talented athletic teams in the league, and so we got our hands full. But we're happy to be 2-0, and we're excited to get into conference play. And like every game, we'll know more about ourselves as a team and a program after this one.
That is Mississippi State head coach Zach Arnett gets ready to welcome in the LSU Tigers. Both Arnett and Brian Kelly were on the SEC coaches teleconference Wednesday morning, kind of giving some updates on his team. Brian Kelly, on the opportunity to go to Starkville and play at 11 a.m.
Our team understands the challenge in front of them. We're excited about the opportunity. Well-coached team. Zach Arnett has done a great job in utilizing the talent on his football team in a manner that he sees fit. It's a traditional offense that features an outstanding running game and, a veteran quarterback in Will Rogers. Defensively, it's a very difficult scheme. It's one that employs a lot of movement up front. Our team played well last weekend, played for 4 quarters. Now we look to kind of build on that going on the road against an SEC opponent.
First road SEC game, first true road game for LSU this season. Mississippi State has not had to leave Starkville yet. They played Southeastern and won. They welcomed in Arizona a week ago from Tucson and won that game in overtime, as we've talked about. And now it's the biggest challenge for LSU. Was interesting, though, is Brian Kelly also talked about expectations and big picture stuff for this team, which I'll get to in just a second because I thought that was real interesting. But a lot of people have asked realistic expectation for John Emery in his return. Of course, Emery is available to play for LSU against Mississippi State on Saturday. So what's realistic there?
He's in a much better place than he was last year at this time. Physically, mentally, I wouldn't say that there's any comparison to the John Emery from last year to the John Emery this year. He was on scout team for the last 3 weeks. He's physically fit. He's a plug-and-play guy. I mean, I think he's going to get as many carries as anybody would be in this situation where you have a deep and talented room. So I don't think he's going to be limited by, a conditioning element like we had with Mason. So we feel like he's ready to play and should be able to impact the game.
It's hard to imagine. I mean, I'll answer point blank. It's hard to imagine a scenario where John Emery gets more than 10 touches in the game or gets to that number. It stands to reason Logan Diggs is going to be your number one guy and probably get the lion's share of the work, along with Josh Williams, who's a veteran guy and they love. Everyone's high on Caleb Jackson, and rightfully so, but this is also the first road SEC game for the freshman, and you would hate to have to put him into a situation where he's not comfortable or experiencing that for the first time in a tough spot, especially when you've got veteran Noah Cain, veteran John Emery, Armani Goodwin still questionable, so we don't know if he'll be available. But you've got clearly options there. But getting John Emery work is the thing with John now is what it's always been. He has game-breaking potential. He's the home run hitter. He's not the guy necessarily you want to ride for 15, 20 carries a game, but he gets 5 touches and one of them he breaks for 35 yards. he's done his job. So we'll see what role John Emery plays this weekend. And it's a big weekend for LSU because it feels so much like a get-right opportunity. I guess what I mean is to say we all, after the Florida State game, and we, plural, collective, nationally, everyone looked at LSU and just dismissed and said, well, this team isn't the team we thought they were going to be. And part of my contention, at least theorizing, is I think Florida State's way better than we thought, and LSU was better than them for a half, and you're right in the game until the end of the third quarter, and the fourth quarter got away from you. But how it ended up isn't as bad necessarily as how it was for the first three quarters of the game. Credit Florida State. They were better. They won. They deserved to win. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is there's opportunity for LSU to improve, and they're not that far away unless you go to Starkville and you can't handle Mississippi State on the road. Y'all, LSU, as you look ahead, LSU is a 9.5 or 10-point favorite in this game against Mississippi State. Next week, the early line that I'm looking at is showing LSU 13.5 against Arkansas. It'd be a 2-touchdown favorite at home against Arkansas. The road game at Ole Miss, early line looks right now like it'll be LSU 4.5. My point is, you look at LSU and go, it's the point I made earlier this week, like, where's the L? Where's the game where you take your Sharpie and write an L? It ain't this week. It ain't next week against Arkansas. You're going to be a road favorite at Ole Miss. You're going to be a road favorite at Missouri. You're going to be a home favorite against Auburn. You're going to be a home favorite against Army. You're most likely going to be an underdog on the road against Alabama, but who knows what Alabama is going to look like when you go there in November. And after that, you're going to be a home favorite against Florida, who stinks, and you welcome in Georgia State, and then you're going to have Texas A&M, who they might have fired Jimbo by then. I mean, when you look at the S&P Plus rankings that have been updated for this week over at ESPN, Bama's 5. Look, I'm looking at LSU's opponents. Bama's 5. Florida State's 8. Ole Miss is 13. That's the highest ranked team aside from Bama you play. They got LSU at 16, A&M at 20, Mississippi State, your opponent this week, 23, Auburn 24, Arkansas 26. You see my point? Like, Florida 36. Where it's not to say Missouri 46 on this list. It's not to say LSU definitively is going to win out. It's just to say they can. The opportunity is there given the schedule, which is why I like this team at the beginning of the year to begin with. Veteran team, few questions, manageable schedule. Well, you have one gigantic glaring question, which is your secondary. Can they play good enough? Not can they be dominant, can they be elite, can they be good enough to complement a good front seven and what we think could be a really special offense as the season goes along. That's what we'll find out. But Brian Kelly said it point blank about what this team is capable of doing this year.
Keep in mind, we have 14 transfers, and we're playing freshmen on defense, so there's some young players that need to continue to grow. There's some transfers that need to continue to grow into our defensive structure. But this is a team that certainly can compete for the SEC West again, and we got to go on the road, and we got to prove that.
There's no reason, none whatsoever, to think LSU is not capable of winning the West. Of course they're capable of winning this division this year. And maybe there is a conference loss or two somewhere along the way. The same could also be said for Alabama with tripwire everywhere. So this weekend against State is going to be so telling, because that's a State team that forced 5 turnovers against Arizona. 5. And needed overtime to beat them on their field. You can't go into Starkville and beat that Mississippi State team at 11 a.m. You've got real sincere issues, and we all me included, need to recalibrate what we think about this football team. You go win this game, you're right back on track. Go handle your business. All right, it's After Further Review, brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. That's WilliamsonEye.com. I love this. I saw this earlier on social media. So Grammy-nominated blues guitar legend Kenny Neal recently had his custom lens replacement at the Williamson Eye Center. There's a picture of Kenny Neal right there with Dr. Blake Williamson if you want to go check it out on their Facebook or their Instagram, Williamson Eye Center. So now Kenny Neal will be able to see the crowd from the stage with perfect vision. So it doesn't matter if it's LASIK, which I've told you about my amazing experience with Dr. Blake for years. If you had LASIK years ago and now your eye and other parts of your eye are aging, PRK is an option. Maybe it's the custom lens replacement. There's so many different options. No matter your age or refractive issue, the Williamson Eye Center can help. 924-2020. Just schedule that consultation. 924-2020 or williamsoneye.com. Okay, we're going to get to Tigers and the Pros in the next segment. This is usually where we do overrated, underrated. Muse, you want to blow and go quickly here on overrated, underrated? Okay, let's do it. Hit it, Muse. Let's do it. Overrated, underrated.
Overrated or underrated?
I personally think he's criminally underrated.
Oh, let's get you a few here. Overrated or underrated Snickerdoodle cookies?
Oh, underrated. Underrated. I think, do you like Snickerdoodles?
They're not my favorite, but they're good, yes.
Paulie, you like a Snickerdoodle?
Absolutely.
See, here's the thing about a Snickerdoodle. Everybody loves, what's your favorite cereal?
Oh, God, that's a hard question. Just off the top of my head, I will go the generic Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
What everybody says.
Yeah.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
But that, if I gave that thought, it'd probably be a different answer.
A Snickerdoodle is a soft cookie version of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Snickerdoodles are amazing. But people, when they're in the mindset of a cookie, they're usually thinking, give me chocolate chip. But a Snickerdoodle is an amazing option. Underrated Snickerdoodle.
Overrated or underrated fitted hats?
I am going to say that a fitted hat is overrated. It's boxy. The fit usually isn't great. Although I understand change of sizes and all. But one of the benefits of like a snapback or a slide hat is you can have it perfectly fit your head. So overrated on the fitted hat.
One more. Overrated, underrated Justin Timberlake.
Underrated. Dramatically underrated. He's another example of as popular as he is, still underrated. Ability to sing, to act, comedic actor, dramatic actor, his ability to dance as a performer. He's, despite all of his success, still dramatically underrated. And he's married to Jessica Biel.
That's true, he is.
Mary Camden, shout out.
That's overrated, underrated. This
is After Further Review. We're brought to you by Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. If it's a commercial roof replacement or repair, or the largest scale commercial job, we'd love to help you out. Remember, at Hudco, we have a silicone coating product. So if you have a commercial building and you have issues with your roof, remember, the silicone coating product that Hudco offers is roughly half the cost of a roof replacement and comes with a 20-year warranty. You still going to be in that building in 20 years? Half the cost, 20-year warranty. Call Hudco today and ask about that silicone coating product from Hudco Roofing. Do business with someone you know. No matter where you are in the state of Louisiana, we'd love to help. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. It's After Further Review. Quick break. Muse will wrap up hour number 2 with Tigers and the Pros. Russ Mitchell in less than 30 minutes. Stay here.
AFR.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
The best-kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Calica! I'm just getting ready. Muso has Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
Alex Lang towed the rubber for the Detroit Tigers last night. For the Detroit Tigers last night in the ninth inning. He did get tagged with the loss in this one, but it wasn't his fault. He pitched very well. The run he gave up was unearned. Only the one hit, did punch out a hitter as well. So tagged with the loss, but the ERA dropped. Now, Josh Smith. Last night, little pinch hit AB for the Texas Rangers. Makes the most of it. Hustle double for our guy to left to right center field.
Style.
I mean, look, he's
Guts and God.
Full dive
on the
there
line.
into second base.
Style.
It drove in a run. He also drew a walk later in the ball game as well.
Yeah, the second guy wasn't there. I was just telling you. The highlight rolled like...
Okay, gotcha. Daniel Cabrera last night, 2 for 4. No.
He should have been.
2 for 4 for the Erie Seawolves. Both of those singles, one of them driving in a run in the ball game. Dylan Cruz last night. Back to his hitting ways. 2 for 4. His first 2 ABs resulted in a double that drove in a run. The second one was a single through the 5-hole that resulted in a run scored as well. And then Cruz would come around to score a run. So all in all, 2 for 4, 2 ribby, and 1 run scored for Dylan Cruz. Kramer Robertson last night. No. 1 for 3, but it was a big one. Oppo shot to right field. 3-run bomb. 3 RBI and a run scored for Kramer. Also, shout out to ballparks on the water. We just have a lot of these in the minor leagues. This is another good one at Norfolk.
Okay.
Big fan. Shout out to ballparks on the water. Minor league ballparks on the water.
Now, Muse, I got to say, look, it was an Oppo shot.
It was.
But I saw that it was 318 to right field.
Hey, look, it doesn't matter.
And it didn't clear that fence by much. So let's not misconstrue this as a bomb.
Oh, look.
It got out, and that's what matters.
You got to build it up, Matt. I mean, LSU
you also have to be truthful with your audience, understanding what it is.
Nuke.
It's a fly ball out in 98% of the ballparks.
But not in Norfolk.
But not in the one that mattered in that moment.
And it was a bomb in Norfolk. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Of course, man, we love our friends at Lee Mike. We've had such a great relationship with them for years now. And it's where Baton Rouge and all of Louisiana has gone to get engaged for more than 40 years. They treat you right because they buy for 9 stores. They buy so much quantity, they can give you the best price. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Okay, it's after further review. Come back after the top of the hour. Saints signed a defensive end with Peyton Turner going on IR. We'll get to that after the top of the hour. Russ Mitchell in 20 minutes. Don't you move. Hour 3 of AFR is next.
AFR.
Brought to you by South Point Volkswagen. And one of the things I've told you about forever, you've heard me say 9 different IIHS top safety picks, which is the highest safety designation that you can get. Well, we've learned that the all-new 2023 Volkswagen ID4, which, of course, is their all-electric SUV for everyone, has earned the IIHS top safety pick. You can learn more about it at southpointvw.com. You can order yours online. You can see the inventory right there. And also, right now, you can get a $7,500 lease bonus right now on the ID4 at South Point Volkswagen. And they have inventory on the lot. So if you've heard people talk about electric vehicles, but you've never driven one, it's kind of amazing. The Volkswagen ID4 commercial is awesome. It's where the dad is sitting in the seat. Every time he sits in the seat, he goes, "Jitterbug," and his baby in the backseat laughs. It's hilarious. I love the Volkswagen commercials. Anyway, experience a Volkswagen. Go see our friends at South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction?
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on select new 23 Ford F-150 trucks. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. The East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office says diligent police work led them to find the soldier who allegedly fired a gun at a car on Segan Lane. The shooting happened following a road rage incident there and ended near South Mall Drive. The mother says a man wearing military fatigues fired a shot at her car. Find out how detectives tracked him down. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come on, in Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down the
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play. with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Rangers righty Max Scherzer will miss the rest of the regular season with an upper arm strain. It's unlikely he's back for the postseason should Texas make it, but he will not need surgery. Rangers a game out of the AL West lead and hold the second AL wild card. Tougher rest rules in the NBA unanimously approved today by the league's Board of Governors, reports ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. Rules apply to star players who sit out games, including those on national TV and in-season tournaments. Also addresses multiple stars sitting out together in regular season games. Fines over $1 million for 3 or more violations of resting rules. ESPN NBA reporter Ramona Shelburne.
I want to see the enforcement. Yeah. Okay, because it comes down to, all right, let's just pick Joel Embiid. Let's say he's got a little sore back, and maybe this game is a good game for him to rest. You going to question the medical on that? Are you going to question the medical on Steph Curry? Are you going to question the medical on LeBron James?
Ramona on NBA Today. Eagles will be without 3 key players tomorrow against the Vikings. Running back Kenneth Gainwell, cornerback James Bradbury, and safety Reed Blankenship.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt.
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musu. And Mr. Toby Tumpley. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. And oh, by the way, it's a hump day.
It's hump day.
Let's hump, everybody.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Saints have added a defensive end.
Hump day.
Will he play this weekend?
It's hump day.
We'll find out.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
After the break.
Hump day.
Actually going to talk about that in a minute.
It's hump day.
Russ Mitchell in 12 minutes.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
We got Pluckers trivia.
Hump day.
We did overrated, underrated.
It's hump day.
Dion Sanders to the SEC.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Book it.
Hump day.
It's going to happen.
It's hump day.
Mark it down.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
TJ Houshmadilla.
Hump day.
Lock it up.
It's hump day.
championship.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
All right, here we go. Feeling good. Glad y'all are with us here. Hope you're having an awesome day. Buckle up if you're driving home. We appreciate you for being with us. Baton Rouge, 100.3 New Orleans, 94.7 ESPN Alexandria. Our friends in Lafayette and Lake Charles, ESPN 103.7 Lafayette, ESPN 104.1 Lake Charles. Y'all are awesome. Thank you so much for finding us, for setting a button in your car, for being with us. If you're on YouTube or a WBTR, wherever you're finding us, we greatly, greatly appreciate it. All right, it's after further review. Russ Mitchell in about 12 minutes. We know one of the really disappointing parts of the Saints' win on Sunday was the injury to Peyton Turner. An injury that, as Dennis Allen told us, was likely will require surgery for turf toe. It'll keep Peyton Turner out for some time. That's massively disappointing, as we had grand expectations for this guy who's a former first-round pick and just has been unfortunately injury-prone his entire career. And naturally, the Saints had a decision to make. Do you ride with signing one of your players off the practice squad? Do you activate Isaiah Foskey? Or do you go search for a veteran free agent you could bring in? And any of those options seem to be on the table. They did work out former first-round pick Tack McKinley, remember, who was with the Atlanta Falcons. But they also worked out Terrell Lewis and decided to sign the former Alabama Crimson Tide edge. Ian Rappaport had the report first with surgery looming for Peyton Turner. New Orleans Saints are signing former Bears edge Terrell Lewis to their practice squad. So quick background here on Lewis for those that aren't familiar. So Lewis went to Alabama. When he initially signed with Alabama in 2016, he was Terrell Hall, and then as a sophomore changed his name to Terrell Lewis. He was a starter on that Alabama team in 2019 that Burrow and the boys went and beat in Tuscaloosa. So after the 19 season, he was a third-round pick of the Rams in 2020. I think 84th overall, so high draft pick. He just happened to go to a place where they brought in Von Miller, and they had Aaron Donald, and they had Michael Brockers, and he was just really overshadowed on a very star-studded defensive line there in L.A. He played 8 games as a rookie, played in 11 games each in 2021 and 2022, made 7 total starts during that time, but obviously he was behind Von Miller on that championship team. It wasn't going to be a great opportunity for him to get in there and start. Hasn't been super productive, just 6 sacks in 3 seasons on his career. The Rams let him go after 2022, signed with the Bears, was on the practice squad. They released him, so he's a free agent. Saints worked him out, and they offered him a contract. So I love the fact that you have a guy that's played on a defensive line with some of the best in the NFL in all time, guys like Aaron Donald, guys like Von Miller. I love the fact that he's a Super Bowl champion, was on that Rams team in 2021 that won the Super Bowl and beat the Bengals. So I love getting guys that have been to the pinnacle, that knows what it's like to be in a locker room, that is a championship locker room and culture and all that stuff, because the Saints value that. They value culture. So to that extent, I like it. I'd be lying if I said I had this grand expectation when I'm looking at a guy that in 3 years has played in 30 games with 7 starts, has 6 career sacks, and only 40 tackles, and the team that used a third-round pick on him cut him. The Bears signed him, and then they let him go from the practice squad. So there's a reason, right? Once you get to this point where you can't catch on, it's very rare that you find the place where it clicks and you hang on. We were talking yesterday about Al Woods. That was Al Woods' journey. The Saints used a 4th-round pick on him. They cut him, and he bounced around for several years, just practice squad, different team year, and then finally he caught on and spent a lot of time in Seattle, a lot of time in Pittsburgh, and has become a really good NFL player for 13 years. So that happens. I don't know that I'm necessarily predicting it here, but the real interesting thing for the Saints is what direction do they go? Like, let's start with what you know on your defensive line. You got Cam Jordan, obviously, who's one starter at one end, and then Carl Granderson is starting at the other end. And Carl Granderson, I know we've talked about it, but a big year for Granderson is going to put himself in position for a big payday after the season. It's a contract year for Carl Granderson. If he ends up cementing himself as a starter opposite Cam Jordan, has a really productive year, he's going to make a lot of money. He's currently on a 2-year deal, the second year of a 2-year deal that was a total of $5.2 million. So you're getting a bargain basement deal right now for a guy that's been a good defensive end. But their backups are the bigger question. So Tano Passanio is one of them, and it was Peyton Turner. At The other one. So what are your options? Okay. We just talked about Terrell Lewis, who probably ambitious to think that he's going to sign with the team on Wednesday and be ready to roll on Monday Night Football. That's hard to imagine. It's hard to get to that point, that he would be healthy and he would be on the 53 and active on game day. That's hard to get there. But he could. You've got three other options. One, and the one that would feel like the most obvious, is Kyle Phillips. So Kyle Phillips had a good preseason, and he didn't make the 53, but the Saints did sign Kyle Phillips to their practice squad. 6'4", 277, played collegiately out of Tennessee, was an undrafted free agent, signed with the Jets back in 2019, and he's played in 29 games with 8 starts. So this is a guy that has played in NFL games, was with you in the preseason, has been with you all along. He's got the most experience, the most skins on the wall, all that stuff. Been with you, like all that stuff. It makes the most sense that Kyle Phillips would be the guy that you would activate on game day. Nico Lalos was one of the talks of camp because in that second preseason game, he balled out. He had 4 sacks, led the NFL in sacks in the preseason, and this is another guy who physically looks the part, 6'5", 270. He's what you want in those big ends. Was with the XFL Seattle Sea Dragons in the spring, so he played ball in the spring, got reps, and then is now on the Saints practice squad. Was with the Giants in 2020 when he was coming out of Dartmouth. Played in 6 games as a rookie, so he's been on an NFL field. He's played in 6 games, as we mentioned, but again, not nearly as much experience as you've got with Kyle Phillips. And then the other option is Isaiah Foskey. And Dennis Allen was asked point blank in his media availability, I believe this is the Monday media availability, about the opportunity here for the second-round pick.
An opportunity's opened up for him. Obviously we have a couple of, options, also on the practice squad. And so we'll see, what we feel like is the best move for our team. But certainly, look, anytime somebody faces an injury and are going to be out for any significant amount of time, it opens a door for somebody else to take advantage of. And so, I think it's certainly an opportunity for him.
I would love to think that Foskey this week could go make plays and earn that spot. When you invest a high second-round pick, a pick in the 30s, which by extension to some could be a first-round pick. You took Brazee with your first-round pick and Foskey with your early second-round pick. So your intention was to go solidify your defensive front with these 2 guys. And we barely mentioned Foskey's name in the preseason. And then he's a healthy scratch. He's a healthy inactive week 1. That's disappointing. There's no other way to say it. It's not to say he's got no potential, but when you start thinking about guys that you drafted that high that were healthy inactives, I start to think of Stanley Jean-Baptiste. I start to think of Robert Meacham in his rookie season. That's a problem. This is a guy that you need to be able to count on to impact your team when you use that much draft capital on a player. Now, saying that isn't automatically, magically going to make Isaiah Foskey. What the Saints elect to do on Monday Night Football against Carolina is going to be very telling about what they feel about Isaiah Foskey right now. Maybe him being a week 1 healthy and active tells you the story. But if now you tell me there's a couple of practice squad guys and a dude you just signed off the street that are all ahead of him, they're telling you they don't want him anywhere near a field. And this is probably just going to be a redshirt year for a guy you used a very high draft pick on. So a lot of expectations for Foskey. Curious to see how he manages this weekend if he takes advantage of that opportunity. But Terrell Lewis, the Saints have added, Nico Lalos, Kyle Phillips, guys who played in NFL games. And, you have 3 guys who have played in NFL games, who have skins on the wall, 2 of them who have been with your team now throughout training camp. And then you got the wild card of Isaiah Foskey and what he might be able to do this week with the door open. So we'll follow that. Okay, quick break. We'll come back. Russ Mitchell joins us next. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001. If you're having trouble with your AC, call that number. It's the only thing you need to remember. 752-0001, 752-0001. You are sure to get an exceptional customer service experience. Michelle Rhodes did. She sent this 5-star Google review. I chose Kelly because he and JJ have been servicing my home for years. Those are the technicians. Today we had the pleasure of meeting Sam, not an option to choose. He was amazing. He was great with all of our furry children, which can be a handful to say the least, and found out our unit was not operating the way it should. Took care of the issue, had great advice on the maintenance item he noticed. We have never had an experience anything other than excellent since doing business with River City's 1 Hour Air since at least 2005. I don't need to say it. Michelle said it all. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Officially, it's a fridge full of beer. Unofficially, it's free AC. Coors Light, the official beer of everything unofficial.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, you can lease a new Toyota 4Runner for $489 per month. That's right, you can get a brand new 2023 Toyota 4Runner for $489 per month. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade, time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me, like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird. Russ Mitchell.
Kicking the tires and lighting the fires. Russ! Literally.
Well, I'm proud of Russ. I think Russ deserves it.
If they give you a nickname, you're good.
Rusty, come on up here.
I'm getting tired of saying Tigers. There's too many Tigers in the league already.
I want you to stay here and take care of things, Russ.
You know, I mean, they're going to run this kid around like a rented step-headed mule.
You know, I haven't had much of a chance to talk to you man to man, Russ.
I'm a guy who spends all day breaking down Kentucky football.
Not going in our yard, Russ. It's going in our living room.
And I'm calling you out, man. We'll cut this clip and send it out there to Spurrier and the fellas.
It's like Troy.
Take it, Russ.
All right, we may need to upgrade some of those clips. There was a Spurrier and the fellas. There was, Troy's been a minute. Maybe his DBU clip from last week would be one we had. How are you?
Kicking the tires, lighting the fires. I'm at an airport right now, so I'm probably gonna irritate a bunch of people. But there you go.
We appreciate and respect very much your efforts to be with us here, especially on this day of mourning. Mourning the fact that the SEC West stinks.
You know, well, part of that's expectations, right? I mean, we've just been so good leading the country for a decade. So when you set the expectations that high, when you slip from that, it's pretty obvious. But, I mean, if you're sitting here in the middle of September looking at the season, what's the big win for the SEC West? Arizona in overtime.
Ole Miss going to win at Tulane. It's the only ranked non-conference win for the league.
Well, were they ranked 25th?
I think 25th, 24th.
I mean, I would say the win on the road at Cal was pretty tough too, but they win by 4. At least Ole Miss won by 17 or 14 or something.
Yeah, there's an asterisk next to that one. That was a one-score game with 2 minutes to go. Tulane had a chance to get a stop and go win the game. And then Ole Miss kicked a field goal and then had a scoop and score. That was a straight-on ball game all the way for 58 minutes.
Yeah, you know, it's not just how the SEC West has lost, or how they played. It's how they've lost, right? I mean, they're getting pushed around.
Yeah,
pushed around by Florida State, pushed around in the game against Texas. Just pushed around all over the field by opponents that, 5 years ago the West would have just rolled over. So, yeah, I think the trench play has been spotty from almost every team in the West. So, yeah, I think it's fair to say that this has not been a very auspicious start to the season.
Greg McElroy said the Bama dynasty is over. Is it time for Nick to step aside and go away?
It's such a great question, right? Because, again, this is also about expectations, right? Is another example of damned by your expectations. But, he's getting older, 71. It's hard to keep hiring the best, right? It's hard to find that. Yep. They're nearly dead last in sacks allowed through 2 games in the conference. And you don't expect that from Nick's team. And the secondary soft, which is the unit that he usually takes care of. And he's soft too. He's soft. They just had the worst loss by points in his career in Tuscaloosa. Like, if that had happened 8 years ago, he would have had a heart attack on the field, brother. Like, you would have been able to see the veins popping out of that guy's forehead. And, this is the softer generally.
AFR. What just happened there? Muse hit the button.
Is it Muse?
Yes, absolutely.
God damn it, Muse.
You can't say that on radio.
You can't?
No.
See, look, I heard someone use the A word on the radio.
You can say D. You can't say GD.
All right.
You can say A. You cannot say S, F, or P.
You're going to have to put that down on like a card.
I am not writing that with my company email. No shot I'm doing that.
Write that down on a card
I'll
for me,
text
brother.
it. I'll text it to you.
All right.
All right, anyway, is A&M going to eat $77 million and fire Jimbo Fisher? Is it time?
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to...
on the field. So whose fault is that?
Oh, it's Jimbo's. Absolutely.
And it's 5.5 years. So I guess it just depends on what's more important to you. $77 million, which is just so stupid. $77 million.
They're going to eat it, brother. They're going to eat it.
Yeah. I mean, what's more important to you, 7 years or $77 million?
Bingo.
And by the way, here comes, what's the best they ever finished since they've come into the SEC?
Well,
third in the West? Did they ever finish second? I think it's third.
2012 was their first year with the Manziel year. But I think they were behind both Bama and LSU because LSU beat them that year. They were 10-2, yeah.
Yeah, they were third. I think that's the best they've ever finished. And by the way, we're talking about the West. We're not talking about in the conference.
Yeah, LSU and A&M were both 6-2 and 12, but LSU won in College Station. Give me a ding. Give me a ding. Give me a ding.
I can say damn, right?
Yes,
damn.
you can say that. Yes, you can say that. You just can't put the G in front of the D.
Here comes Texas, and here comes Oklahoma.
I know. So good.
They're in trouble, brother.
So good. He's on Twitter at Russ Mitchell CFB. Hey, LSU is going to Starkville this week. Obviously, no Mike Leach, and it completely changes. And I feel like maybe we don't need to keep putting the caveat there, Russ. I mean, we all understand that it's a very sad, very tragic thing. I'm trying just from a football perspective. Mississippi State looks so different.
Yeah.
And the thing that LSU is bad at right now, defending the pass, State don't throw the ball anymore. So, this kind of plays in perfectly for LSU.
Look, and I mean, LSU's won like 700 of the last 702 times these two teams have played. So that's another thing that factors into this, right? LSU owns State. So, by the way, if this game wasn't in Wade Davis, but, look, by the way, another thing that works in LSU's favor is that Mississippi State's defense has been good for years, but they really struggled with Jaden DeLora from Arizona. By the way, not a good team at all.
I know.
And they struggled with the mobility and passing of Jaden DeLora. Now here comes in LSU's Jaden Daniels, who's leading the conference throwing the ball. LSU's got one of the best passing offenses in the conference, and is mobile himself. So if they were throwing the ball 60 times, I would say this is going to be closer, but they're not. So I like LSU in this game.
It's not really a great weekend in the conference, unfortunately. Georgia plays South Carolina. That's in Athens. You kind of have a feeling Georgia's just going to overwhelm them there. But the other really interesting one is Tennessee, Florida, if for nothing else because of the names on the marquee. And, Russ, it wasn't that long ago that this was – well, maybe it was that long ago, but maybe I'm just getting older now. I remember when this was a really fun game.
Do you remember when you used to plan your entire September around this game?
Yes.
There are people listening right now who are under the age of, do we want to say 23?
Older 22? Than that? I'm 41, so I would imagine. Well, let's see.
How old do you have to be you don't realize, or that you've never planned your September around this game?
Muse, do you remember when Florida Tennessee was like the game in September?
Yeah, I mean it was the CBS night game all the time. Is what I remember it being.
It was LSU Alabama. I mean, it was the most important game, and it was like in the second week of the season. It was like it changed everything. This is an example of two teams literally going in the opposite direction. Tennessee hasn't won. How long has it been since Tennessee's won in Florida?
2003.
Isn't that crazy?
I know. Tennessee has not won in Gainesville since 2003.
Now, sorry, the announcer just came on. Now, Tennessee has won. They're very balanced offensively, 200 yards rushing and receiving in their first two wins of the season. They've got the best. They lead the country. I know it's early, but it is what it is. They lead the country in sacks. They lead the country in tackles for loss. They're getting pressure on quarterbacks. This is a Florida offensive line that hasn't been able to move people around. We saw that in the Utah game. Lost in the Utah game was their inability to be able to convert on third downs. This is an offensive line for Georgia that can't, or excuse me, for Florida that can't protect the quarterback. The bigger question really that I'll ask you is, who do you think wins by more, Georgia, South Carolina, or Tennessee, Florida?
Georgia, because it's in Athens. I think the fact that game's in Gainesville, a night game, they can make it respectable with a good effort for at least half.
What's the line in the Georgia game?
I don't know. Hang on, I'll find it.
I think the line in the Tennessee game's like 7, right? 6.5.
Let me see. I'm pulling them up right here. Let's see. So Georgia is a 27.5-point favorite, and Tennessee is a 6.5-point favorite.
Oh my goodness!
In Gainesville.
Oh my goodness! I would, if I had to choose between those, I would bet my money and your money on Tennessee by 6.5.
Well, you asked me who wins by more, and I told you Georgia at home is going to win by more.
Yeah, but that's why I wanted the lines, because that evens it out a little bit more. I think that Tennessee is in a much better position to cover the spread than Georgia. They might both, but I think Tennessee is playing much better football than Florida is right now.
He's on Twitter at Russ Mitchell, CFB. You know where to find him. And he's here with us on Wednesdays. We appreciate it. Safe travels. Thanks for joining us in the airport.
Hey, Moose, get your act together, kid.
Right, for real. Get together.
Goodbye.
Oh, see you. Bye, Russ. Good, great. That's Russ Mitchell. Get together, Muse. I don't know, Muse. You have to check for me the last time.
It wasn't even me, but what?
You're sitting over there.
Yeah, and sometimes the computer has a mind of its own. The server does things sometimes.
You could have potted that down so it didn't go over there.
I wasn't expecting that to happen.
That's why you should just keep it potted down.
Anyway, you were going to ask me something?
We need to check on Tennessee, Florida, because you said night game on CBS. I don't think CBS was doing primetime games back then. That didn't start until more recently. What I'm really talking about is like 98, 99 consecutive years were awesome. 98, of course, is the year when Tennessee broke through against Florida, because Peyton never beat Florida. And 98 was the year they beat them. I think it was overtime. It was definitely a late field goal. And that was a night game at Neyland. It was bonkers. I remember watching it at my house. 2001 was a dramatic finish. Florida threw a touchdown, front corner of the end zone, I want to say. Or was it Tennessee that got the late score in 2001? I'm not looking at the thing. But I'd be curious to know about this. Now I'm just legitimately curious when CBS started doing the primetime game.
That's what I'm trying to find right now. I wasn't
Patrick.
listening to anything you said. No, sorry. I was trying to figure this out.
No worries. Let's go to break. We'll figure that out in the break. We'll come back. We'll do a little Pluckers trivia. We're glad you're with us. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. Electric vehicle chargers for your home or your office building. Told you just a bit ago, of course, our friends over at South Point Volkswagen have the all-new ID4. Hey, look, if you're a car dealership and you are going to be getting your EV inventory, well, you got to have chargers at your dealership. Well, let ProCharge help you out. ProChargeEV.com. If you want an EV charger for your home or for your office building, maybe you're a developer, you're a home builder, you're going to build a home, you might as well build it with the EV charger in as an amenity for the ultimate and eventual purchaser of that home. If you have a commercial building as an amenity for your employees, an amenity for your customers, you want electric vehicle chargers at your building, and it becomes a passive revenue generator. People can tap to pay, and ProCharge manages all of it. ProChargeEV.com. Learn more online. Fill out the form to get more info. ProChargeEV.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded. because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Russ texted me. He said, people are going to think I hate, and he put a moose emoji. I said, sorry.
It's okay, Russ.
He said early season form.
The
oh, man, T-Bob's on this station. There's been far worse said. It's after further review. We've not found an answer to our question, have we?
I haven't, no.
I'm gonna ask Tim Brando, because he would know, because he worked at CBS forever. So I'll shoot Tim Brando a question. Russ, we were talking about, but that stunned me when I saw that earlier today. I guess I just hadn't thought of it. Tennessee has not won in Gainesville since 2003. You forget how bad Tennessee was for how long. Like, for a program that has such great history, from General Neyland all the way through, and Johnny Majors and Phil Fulmer winning a national championship, and carry that on, even though they never got back after 98. They had great teams. I mean, they beat LSU in the 01 SEC championship game. They go play Miami for the national championship out in the Rose Bowl. But after that 07 SEC championship game where they lost to LSU, it just wilted. It just wilted in Knoxville. And they just keep missing on coaches over and over again. I mean, you thought Lane Kiffin and was there for a year and bolted for SC. And then you had Derek Dooley and Butch Jones and the Champions of Life thing. And, man, they just keep whiffing. And then Pruitt comes in and he gets you on, saddle with sanctions. And clearly they seem to have hit with Heupel. We'll see how sustainable it is, but they're recruiting and they got a fun offense and they're winning and all that sort of stuff. So maybe that's part of that shift. But, man, it has been 15 years of wandering through the wilderness for Tennessee football. But you got to like their opportunity to go down to Gainesville and win. It's a hard place to play. It's a harder place still to win regardless. But that's why Tennessee hadn't done it in 20 years. But this team, you got to feel like has as good a shot as any to go down there and get that win. All right, it's After Further Review, brought to you by Mold Zero USA, mold-0usa.com. We're going to get to our Pluckers trivia here. And Muse, I'll tell you what, I like your odds here, man. I don't say that often. And I'm honest about it.
That just puts a lot of pressure on me.
I think you're going 3-0. I will be really disappointed if you don't. But I got to remind people about Mold Zero. Maybe you have mold in your brain, Muse, if you don't go through 3-0. We could take Mold Zero. We could just spray your brain. Actually, we're not going to do that because that wouldn't be a good idea. But what is a great idea is that you have mold, you have odor, other harmful pathogens. You want to clear them up in your home, your office building. Mold Zero can help. Mold-0usa.com. My buddy Jim Woodworth, he's a veteran, the United States Air Force. Great dude. One of the most fascinating guys you'd ever want to meet. But he has been in disaster recovery and remediation for years. He helped at Ground Zero post 9/11. The BP oil spill brought him back to the South where he helped in the cleanup efforts there. And Mold Zero is a great option for remediation work if you find yourself in need. Less invasive, it's less expensive, it's Mold Zero. Mold-0usa.com. Mold-0usa.com. Okay, let's do it, Muse. Let's do a little Pluckers trivia. If you're not to the newly indoctrinated or the unindoctrinated, every Wednesday is trivia night over at Pluckers. Nicholson and Bluebonnet. 7:30 at Bluebonnet, 8 o'clock at Nicholson. Pluckers is our title sponsor here on AFR every single Wednesday. So what we do is my buddy, Stevie Levy, the king of the wing, sends me a few sample questions, and we fire him at Muso to see how he does. And largely he just disappoints because that's what Muso does.
Go on. Continue. I'm just going to ignore that.
You're Paulie. I was trying to make Paul laugh. That's all. If he could stop sneezing.
Yeah,
have you ever
Paul
heard a guy
sneezes.
sneeze more than Paul?
No.
I mean, do you know people that are like that? They're not one sneezers. They got to be a multiple sneezer every time.
I mean, I know Paul, but
is that the only one? Like my sister.
much,
My
yeah,
sister's like that. My sister Alicia, she never sneezes just once. Me, it's one big hot chew, like a kaboom hot chew, and that's it. My sister sneezes like 15 times in a row. Paul sneezes like 47 times in a row.
Yeah, I went to high school with a girl who did that, but I mean,
You said Paul was the only one you knew?
well, I wouldn't really say I know her very much anymore. I mean,
Doesn't matter. You know a person that sneezes like that.
There you go. Hey,
All right,
Otter,
Muse,
Otter,
here we
Otter,
go.
Otter sent us a pick. You want to give it out real fast?
I didn't see it. Please, go ahead.
5:41 pitch, so it just went off. You're still pretty good, though. Over 9, Baltimore and St. Louis.
How do we feel about this? I don't know. I need to let me go check. I'm logging into DraftKings real quick. I want to go check how the Otter did last night. Like his football bets, especially the NFL.
They're fantastic.
In Fuego.
Yep.
I'm with it. I'm there on every one of them. But this is the second year in a row now where our guy has gone out to the West Coast. He's gone to Del Mar, and he's
cratered.
He lost his parlay. Oh, it's 2 in one night. No, 2 in one night. Okay. He gave us the Rangers on the money line, which hit, and he gave us the Twins on the money line, which hit. His money line parlay with the Cubs and the Brewers lost. So, okay, so wait, what's the pick he gave out there, Muse?
The over in Baltimore, St. Louis, 9 runs. Over 9 runs, Baltimore,
how about
St.
this?
Louis.
It's down 8.5.
Jump on it.
I'm in. Done. Jump on it.
There
Jump
it is.
on it.
I was waiting for you to do that.
Jump on. I was waiting for the bet to load. Okay, all right, here we go, Muse. This is weird, Paulie. I'm kind of like in the right side of the frame. Can you frame me more toward the middle? Is that possible? Can you move the camera? There. See, I'm over on the side. There we go. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. Feel better about that. All right, Muse, here we go. With 2,558, which slugger holds the MLB's record for most career walks drawn?
So say that again. 2,000, how many?
2,558.
All right, well, I mean, I'm going to go with the obvious choice here and say Barry Bonds.
Yeah! Yeah! They were intentionally walking my dude with the bases loaded.
With the bases loaded.
You know what I mean? It's like, of course.
The ultimate sign of respect.
Hey, look, when you keep sitting on needles, that's what's going to happen.
That's true.
Okay, we're 1-0.
All right.
All right. Muse, true or false? You've got a 50-50 shot.
Coin flip. All right, here we go.
You got a 50-50 shot here, Muse. True or false? The 1999 movie Double Jeopardy, starring Ashley Judd and Tommy Lee Jones, who are both fantastic, by the way, is based on a best-selling novel by John Grisham. True or false? Double Jeopardy, based on a best-selling novel by John Grisham.
So I've seen the movie. Yeah. I've seen the movie. Not, so many times that I could just be like, oh, it's great, or whatever. It's one of my favorites.
Set in New Orleans.
It is set in New Orleans. The scene where they're running through the cemetery and everything. Yeah, it's good stuff. I feel like I've actually heard that somewhere. So I'm gonna say it's true. Look at that.
No, it's false. I believe, thought that one might trip you up. Believe, Muse, that the one that correct me if I'm wrong, maybe Google it, but I think Pelican Brief is the one that
on the John Grisham novel
that was best. That was based on. Wasn't Pelican Brief a John Grisham novel?
Look, man, I'll be honest, I don't know.
John Grisham, yes.
Yeah,
Pelican Brief. Okay, there it was. So that's Pelican Brief was the John Grisham, also set in New Orleans.
It's okay. Look, we can still have a winning day here.
All right, Muse. Counting on you here, man. And you had a 50-50 shot of that.
I know.
God dog.
Look.
Tripped you up,
But
man.
sometimes it's not a good thing.
You know what you were, man? They tripped you up like you were sprinting toward the finish line and you tripped up with 10 meters to go.
Sometimes a 50-50
right
shot's
on your
bad.
face. It's a coin flip, man.
But that's the thing. I mean, it's kind of unpredictable.
But you don't even have to know anything about it, and it's a coin flip. You got a 50% chance of getting it right, knowing
and
nothing.
And a 50% chance of getting it wrong.
But knowing nothing, but knowing something increases your odds of getting it correctly. Anyway, okay, let's not get bogged down here, Muse. For the love of God, let's get this last question. Here we go. Muse, what is the capital of Lebanon?
Oh. Ah, man. I can't find it.
It's literally the only city in Lebanon everybody knows.
And I can't find it. The one city I want to say, I know it's not it.
Say it.
For some reason, the only thing I can think of is Prague, and I know it's not Prague.
It's not Prague, no.
You're going to say it, and I'm going to hate myself.
It's Beirut.
Ah!
It's literally the only... I didn't know it was the capital of Lebanon. It's just literally the only city in Lebanon.
Look, man.
I am so disappointed. I really thought you were going to. But I am.
But you shouldn't be.
I am, because you had the 50-50 shot that you swung and missed. And then to not get Beirut is a little... Paulie, did you know that Beirut was the capital of Lebanon, or is that what you would have guessed?
I actually did not know that.
Oh, my God.
Not an expert on Lebanon, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, send your kids to Catholic High. That's the lesson here. It's after further review. We're going to knock out our final break of the show and get to Otter Locks next. Stay here.
AFR.
Buying or selling commercial or residential, call Darren James and get your home sold. If you need a realtor, and if you're selling a home, you need a realtor. By the way, if you're buying a home, you need a realtor as well. You realize when you're buying a home, this is something I didn't know when I was going to buy my first home, Erica and I, that when you hire a realtor on the buy side, you don't pay a commission. Their commission is from the sell side. So it's so great to have a realtor on your side who can advise you on different areas of town, who is looking for things with a very critical eye for exactly what it is you're looking for, who also can negotiate on your behalf to get you the best deal. You got to call Darren James, 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. Do you realize Darren bends over backwards to make sure that you have a great experience buying or selling your home? If you need a realtor, you need Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there in the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
On the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Hump Day edition of AFR, presented by Pluckers. One thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. It's time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Ott father himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
What's going on, Matthew?
A 2-1 night for the Otter, a winning night, a profitable night last night, so congrats on that. We got an early pick in. You gave us St. Louis and Baltimore on the over. By the way, that one right now is top 2, and the total is down to 8.5. So if people want to jump in on that, still good value?
Yeah, 2 garbage can pitchers. So, we're looking for a lot of...
All right, what else are we looking at?
Thank you, Cubs, for running our perfect night last night. But, profitable. We're talking about turning a profit. How about Arizona at the Mets, 6-10 first pitch, Citi Field in New York. Zach Gallen, Russ shutout at Wrigley Field last time out, the complete game. He's probably in the top 3 for Cy Young right now. We're looking, and they're definitely playing for something. They lost last night. The Mets pitcher was just too good. And can you see the Mets pitcher on the DraftKings board right now? This is a Sam Willard Harper's Haberdashery release right here. That's not Lucchese, it's Lucchese. So
like
it's,
like the boots.
There you go.
I got
there
it.
You go.
I'm there.
I used to say, Sam, I love these Lucchese's,
No,
baby.
Lucchese. Lucchese.
Gallon minus 55 on that one. So you want to split it up, reduce the juice, lay the 1.5 with half your bet, and lay 55 with half your bet. Another guy who's in for the NL Cy Young is San Diego's Blake Snell. He's been really good lately, Matt. But Big Brother just loves whooping up on San Diego, man. In the rookie from Butler, Pepio has been outstanding. He's been really good. We're not factoring on Snell going past 6 innings, high strikeout rate, high walk rate. I think the Dodgers are looking at a real challenge here. I think, they scored a 9 and 11 runs the last 2 nights. I think they're going. I think it's going to be a lot of fun tonight. Short price, as short as you're going to get with the Dodgers at Chavez Ravine. We'll take the Butler Bulldog rookie, Pepio. You take the choice. P-E-P-I-O-T.
1 minute remaining.
Spelling class today.
This is a lesson on phonics. All right, Jimmy gave us the over in St. Louis and Baltimore. We got Arizona on the money line and the Dodgers on the money line. Tomorrow is a Thursday. Are we at Jolie Pearl?
Is Jolie Pearl in Town Square Pizza? Yep, downtown from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We kind of did a dual broadcast, and looking forward to some Thursday night football tomorrow night.
We will talk to you tomorrow, Otter, to get the Thursday night football picks. The NFL picks have been absolutely in fuego. We'll look forward to it. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Matt.
All right, be well. That is Jimmy Ott. You can catch him weekdays with Charles Hannegriff, 11 to 1. All right, it's going to do it for us as we get on out of here. If you missed anything, remember AFR On Demand presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time at golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. Lots of good stuff today. Thanks to Julian Council. Thanks to Russ Mitchell. Muse, Paulie, I appreciate you, fellas. Y'all have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, remind you about Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com, windows, door siding, and now shutters as well. So they're offering indoor shutters at Relief Windows. I mean, they do more windows, do them better than anybody else, so why wouldn't they also take care of your shutters? It's Relief Windows. So go to the website, hit the shutters tab right there at the top. You can read about their shutters. You can see pictures of their beautiful shutters. Every single shutter custom made and professionally installed, custom to your home. That's Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and now shutters as well from Relief Windows. Yes, they are all those things, but as I say every day at Relief Windows, what they really are is experience, quality, and service. The experience of a company that's been doing it forever, the quality products, and the exceptional customer service that Brandon Holly demands of everyone who wears that logo on their chest. It's Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, Relief Windows, and reliefwindows.com.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor, so you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast? All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
The best kept secret in